Hello. Sorry, I had to yell at Fireball for a second. She's messing with the bag. And it's like the rapping sound, the rapper ASMR sound. Not cool. Fireball. I love you. I heard it. That's because I muted it. Granted, it didn't happen. Welcome in, everybody, to our second roundtable. Discussion. We're focusing this one going to be on streamer etiquette. And oh hey, what's that team you're part of? I don't know. It just popped up in my thing randomly, and I just selected it, and I was just like, whatever. I'll just auto host everybody in that team. I don't know what to do. It's just something. It's just something. All right, let me switch my stuff around. I'll do something else. What else? Oh yeah, I have this stuff over here. Over here. Okay. Ahoy! There we are.
Ahoy, mateys.
Okay. Today, if you guys want to join in on the conversations, feel free to join the roundtable discussion voice channel inside of the Discord. So if you want to get in on any of that, join the Discord roundtable discussion. And there's the Discord right there if you're not part of it already. I have voice activity on, so basically if you're in Discord, you're going to hear me and hear everybody else, and then you'll hear it through the stream as well. So, and if you're in here, you have to use push to talk. Only I'm allowed. Only me. Only I can use voice activity in this channel, for many reasons. Cool if I just sit in there until I have comments. That's 100%. Yeah, if you want to just listen in via the Discord and not necessarily the stream, feel free to do that as well. Just connect on in, and you know, we can do that. Let me go like that, so I don't have all those sounds. Okay, so the first thing, or this whole topic today is streamer etiquette. Is stream etiquette, not just streamer etiquette. It's just a stream etiquette. Like, how do you conduct yourself inside of your stream, somebody else's stream, as a viewer, as a co-host, however you want to call it. Like, basically around that idea. I have a pretty good thing that I came up with thoughts today. I want to get a little, as this progresses, I want to get more people involved. We're going to have more cameras. We're going to set up like a little overlay with everybody's face in there. That's going to be part of the panel, is what I'm going to call it, is like a panel discussion in that sense. Maybe we'll put faces, we'll get everybody green screened and put faces, like what Caitlin set up earlier, is put faces around the table. So yeah. There's gonna be all kinds of good stuff that we're gonna be improving on this. So with that said, we have currently Phoenix in here, and we also have Fireball Ginger in here right now, with Salty Caitlin gonna be sitting in there until she has comments. So with that, does anybody have any questions so far, or any comments so far before we get going?
Streamer do's, streamer don't.
What?
Streamer do's, hacks. Streamer don't. Probably shouldn't follow.
Why do we have flickering in that camera?
I don't know. I noticed it yesterday. It's been driving me freaking nuts.
It just popped up, and I saw it, and I was like, what the heck?
It can't handle my soul.
Yeah, apparently not. All right. Well, maybe that'll fix it. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So without further ado, we'll start. The first small topic I wanted to say. Oh, well, let me get how this is going to go first, right? So we have the basic topic of stream etiquette. Then there's like little mini topics. It's still flashing. That's going to bug the hell out of me. That camera's about to get smashed. See, that's the stream etiquette right there. Is I want to smash her camera. No. We're gonna have subtopics to the main topic. For example, what like different questions or stuff like that. Different parts of streaming. I'm going to comment on it and kind of give maybe like a little story or an example or something like that, and give my feedback on it first, and then everybody's welcome to comment. I'll open it up to the floor to everybody to be able to comment as it goes from there.
Hexter number 1.
All right. So one of the first things like that I want to bring up is like the question, what else do you do besides stream, right? So like you come into somebody's channel and you're like, hey, what do you do besides streaming? It's kind of like one of my pet peeves as a question. Like, I don't know why it bugs me so much. It's just, does it matter? You know, like, does it really matter? I just don't think it's a good question to ask somebody personally. You know, hey, I stream full time, you know, like my schedule shows full time streaming, you know, I'm basically streaming 32 hours a week. So, you know, that's that, you know, other people, you know, we know that have that they stream every day of the week, and then they have 2 jobs. Not mention anybody names. So, I mean, like everybody has their own thing. It's just, you know, I don't think it's a question that, you know, you just ask right off the bat when you enter somebody's stream. You'll eventually find out, I'm sure, if you become part of the community. I'm pretty open in the most case about it, but it just irks me. It just, I don't know. What do you think, Fireball or Phoenix?
Well, honestly, it's like, if you're gonna ask the question, I'm gonna tell you all the dirty details about how I change diapers. And I'm a mom, so for me, it's more like, oh, how can I disturb them with my actual life routine? But I don't really mind, because I just want to be myself, and I'm just gonna be myself. And if you ask, you're gonna get it.
It's kind of mixed on that one. Because you might want to share like other hobbies or something like that. But like your income, how you make your money, is none of anybody's business.
Phoenix, your mic is cutting in and out a little bit there. I didn't quite get that.
What I was saying is hold on, is that if you want to share your hobbies and various things like that, I mean, that would probably be up to the streamer. I mean, it wouldn't bother me so much, but if people are asking like how I make money, how I make a living, that would probably bug the shit out of me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going with it, more so than like anything else, you know, like it's not necessarily, hey, what do I like to do for hobbies? Maybe I should have titled that a little bit differently in my notes. But that's basically kind of what I'm getting at, is like, I don't, you know, like, what do you do to make a living outside of streaming? You know, that kind of thing. I think that's the question, that kind of like, it's just, do you really need to know that? It's just kind of one of those questions that kind of gets to me. Yukon said, interesting. I don't think I've ever asked that, but at the same time, I've never thought of it that way. And it sounds like he's in here. So go ahead, Yukon. What you got for it?
Hey, sorry. I thought I was on push to talk. So, I was, I was probably clearing my throat and breathing into the mic. I swore I thought you said you forced push to talk on everyone. I'm so sorry.
I did, except for administrators of the Discord. So
Too many permissions.
Yeah, you trust me with too much. So I got a question. I don't think I've ever gone into I didn't expect you to bring this one up. But now that I'm kind of thinking on it, you know, I don't know that I've specifically asked what else do you do, but I have, you know, as we're talking, you know, kind of like life, you know, topics come up in conversation. I think the way that I've worded it in the past is, do you stream full time? So I feel like when you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because that's never been a question that has bothered me personally, but I can see where you're coming from. Is wording it in that way different to you than what else do you do? Is it, I guess that's more my question is it the question itself, or is it the way that it's being worded? So somebody asking you, hey, what else do you do, as opposed to, hey, do you stream, you know, is this your full-time job? Where it almost seems like I'm assuming that this is your full-time job, and then you can correct me afterwards, rather than assuming that you have other stuff going on and you correcting me the other way. I'll mute and listen.
all right, yeah. So the gravy didn't hear the original question, so I'll bring that up. The original one was, what else do you do besides stream? Kind of what I mean by that is more like, hey, what do you do for a living, basically, or what do you have for like other income sources or something like that. That's the kind of question that I think for me it just shouldn't be asked right off, like straight up like that. And like, to answer your question, it doesn't bother me per se if it gets brought up into like a side conversation or something gets over there. But this is more or less on context. I just popped into your channel and I've known you for less than 24 hours or maybe even a week. I just don't think it's an appropriate question that you should probably ask somebody, because I mean, maybe it's just me. It's just like, for me in my situation, being a disabled veteran, for instance, like it's hard. It kind of irks me in the wrong way, because it's like, this kind of is my full-time job, to do this, and where it's like, it doesn't necessarily make ends meet right now. I'm able to continue to be here on a specific basis for this, but it's just something that I don't like to really get in on the stream, because it kind of, it's kind of like a hard topic for me, because it's like, it's hard for me to do other like things that I want to do because of the situation that I'm in. So it kind of like, that's just that one thing that kind of was like, it's hard for me to like really talk about without getting, sensitive about it. I don't know. So it might not bother other streamers, but that's kind of like, for me, like if somebody comes in my streams like, what else do you do for a living or something like that, and I don't know them, it's just like, dude, like, this is my full-time job. I'm doing this. Like, cool, man. Like, I don't know.
My perspective on it is, it seems like it's not so much the question, it's how it's asked. So if you're coming at it from, oh, how do you make money, and almost judging you in that way, that seems wrong. But if they're like, it seems like they're trying to genuinely get to know you, and they just kind of want to know, hey, what do you do on a daily basis, then it seems like it's always different. It's how you phrase the question. It's not so much, at least for me, it's not so much the question as where you're coming from. Like in my panels, I put that, hey, I work a full-time job, and I'm like open to people asking what it is. But when people come up and say like, oh, how much money do you make at this other job? Like, what kind of job are you working, from that angle, that gets a little iffy.
Right.
You also, I like to point out that, I mean, you are reading people's text, so it can always be misinterpreted. And that's always something to keep in mind when you read chat, is try to see it from two perspectives, even though I know it's really hard to sometimes, especially if you haven't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those. This is just going to be one of those topics where, depending on your viewpoint and in your stance and where you're coming from, the way you feel about it is just going to be a little bit differently. Like I don't think I don't think there's really been too many personal questions that somebody's asked me that has really like perturbed me, and I think a big part of that is because when I'm streaming and people are in my chat, I'm constantly asking people questions to get to know them, right? And I always phrase it in such a way of like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, feel free to tell me to buzz off or whatever, if you don't feel like answering. But I'm constantly asking people questions. So when I'm setting the tone in my stream of me constantly asking questions like that, but with the option of obviously, hey, you can tell me that that's not a question that you feel like answering. I don't think that I personally really put myself in a position where I can get very picky about people asking me, very personal questions. Now, if they do go a step too far, which it's happened before, I'll just say, I don't think that's an appropriate question, or I'll just say, that's not something that I'm really going to talk about on stream. But I don't know that, at least me personally, I don't know that I can get too picky about people being personal with me, because I'm very personal first, and that's kind of the tone that I've set on my channel.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only I've had an issue just today that I have like my PC build listed down below on my panels because I'm super proud of it and I love my PC. But
as you should
I had somebody, I had somebody come into my chat today and say, "Oh, how do you afford the 2080?" And I'm like, that's a weird kind of question. I mean, I work a full-time job. I saved up for it. It's not really any of your business where I got the money, to be frank. So that in that way, it's like they asked about my job, which I don't mind about, but asking how I got the money just felt weird, and I didn't really make a big deal about it,
right?
Because it's not what they meant,
Right.
And
but it was a weird question.
I agree.
Misreading text.
Yeah, it goes back to what Fireball said earlier about like the context of somebody's, of what somebody says in a text format is completely different when you say it out loud to somebody versus, the tone of how you read it or how you interpret it is completely different in text versus like in an actual conversation. So yeah, I mean, I agree with it. I just, I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing, Hex. Like, I'm not trying to like downplay your concern, because like I said, we're coming at it from two completely different viewpoints, and like I said, I know for a fact that I'm a lot more pokey and proddy with the people that come into my chat, just because that's just my personality. I'm just a little more but at the same time, I definitely come from a very different background than you. That aside from streaming, that's a very touchy subject for you anyway. You know what I mean? Like you said, being a disabled vet, that's a subject for you that that isn't easy to deal with or talk about as it is. And so I don't have that viewpoint or stance. So that if I'm being honest, that's that I'm glad that you brought this up, because that's a way of looking at it that I've never really thought of. Like I said before, I'm always very conscious about the way that I ask things. Like I was saying earlier, and like Caitlin was saying, is if I'm ever going to ask a question like that, I always try to ask from a viewpoint of of assuming what they're doing right now is their full-time job, because then that it's almost like it almost is like asking someone who in Fireball, you can probably relate to this. It's almost like asking a mom who is who's a stay-at-home mom, who's a full-time mom, that is their full-time profession, is being a mom, asking them what else they do. You know what I mean? If you go at it and ask them, what else do you do?
Absolutely.
That sucks to hear as a mom. I couldn't imagine how much that sucks to hear, because that is a full-time job. That is a and a career choice and a life path choice. But if you go at it and say, maybe more of like, are you a full-time mom rather than what else do you do? I feel like
It doesn't
going
set
at it
like the
those two ways.
expectation that they
Exactly.
should be doing something else.
Exactly.
That would
If you go, oh, are you
definitely
a
irk
full-time
me.
mom? You're almost going at it as, oh my gosh, that's awesome, which it is awesome. But if I go at it, go, what else do you do? That's almost implying, even if I wasn't meaning to, that's almost implying that being a full-time mom isn't a full-time job enough. There has to be more you do.
Yeah,
it
that would,
diminishes the streaming or the mom or whatever.
yeah. Like for me though, like Caitlin, that question you got asked, like I'm a smart ass now. Like I used to be like super shy, but now I'm a smart ass. So I would have been like, hey, well, you're watching me. I'm a cam girl. You want to know what else I do? You think this is my only platform? I would say some super smart ass like that just to like throw them off or something. But
Not
I
all
mean,
of us have your confidence, Fireball.
Yeah.
I don't know that many, if anybody does.
well, I might have the confidence on stream, but I'm actually very, very sensitive. Like I'll go back and find and be like, Hex, dude, oh my god, I gotta vent to you. I held my face, but I gotta vent to you now. Can I use your shoulder to cry? So, but I'm not as tough as I look.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's, I mean, a good, I don't know. I think we covered that pretty good, right? Do we have any other further comments along that side? No? Okay. So one of the other things I want to talk about for the streamer etiquette type of thing, or stream etiquette, I keep saying streamer, I mean stream etiquette, is hosts and raids. So one of the things I want to talk about, and more than I just put down on my notes here, now that I'm thinking about it, is so like I don't go into like, if I host somebody, I don't be like, hey man, I hosted you. Why didn't you acknowledge me? In their chat. It's just not needed. Alongside of that too, like having auto hosts set to, if you use auto hosts or whatever the case is, or you host the people that are in your community, is a great way to help support that streamer and that community, who takes part, either if you're a streamer yourself, or even if you're not a streamer and you're just a viewer hosting them, it's just, it helps them grow. And I've had people, I ask a lot of, most everybody here, watches my channel all the time. And when I see a new face that I don't like, a name that I don't recognize, I ask how they came across the channel, and, some of them say, hey, Yukon was hosting you, or, Viking Blonde is hosting you, and that kind of stuff happens. And speaking of that, here comes so with that said, that's like, hosts do work, and if you look at the analytics inside, you can kind of see where your audience comes from that. Another thing alongside of that, before I open it up, is raids. So I was asked the other week about raids, on who they should or shouldn't raid per se. And here's here's my kind of comment on that, and I'm really interested to hear what everybody has to say on this specifically. Is I like to raid people that are similar sized streamers or smaller than me. I don't like to go larger than my audience level. And if I go larger than my audience level, I go like maybe 50% more. So like if I have, let's say, 50 viewers currently, and I raid somebody new that, like, who has higher number than me, I host or I raid that person who has maybe 75 people in their channel the most. Because if you start raiding higher numbers than that, it's not helping. I mean, it helps them, but like, I think you're going to get a bigger grab and more appreciation from somebody that you host with, 50% more viewers. They get, you double their viewers or you increase it by, X number of percent, versus like if you raid somebody like, the top 1% aren't really, it's not really any point to raid Shroud or Dr. Disrespect, right? Because you got like 40,000 viewers in there and you're raiding with how many people? Like even if you have like 200 or 300 people, you're really not going to get recognized, or even a couple thousand, probably still not really, So like it's kind of like you got to go with the percentage aspect of like, or you raid somebody who's brand new, like what happened to me when Mr. Chemex raided me, when I was brand new to streaming, and that's how I, met Yukon and Salty Caitlin and a lot of people here, and that's kind of my thing on that. So I'll open up the floor and allow you guys to say your comments.
Well, I like to rate people based on my most active viewers. Like, if I know my viewers are going to like someone who has way more numbers than me because of what they're streaming and who they are, I'm going to rate them for my viewers, not necessarily for myself. And then even if it's a smaller streamer, if I think my viewers are going to enjoy it, I rate them to, try to provide them with the content that they like to see.
I'm still kind of wrestling, like figuring out who I like to raid and stuff. But right now, I've been trying to just support the people who've been supporting me the most, and like that maybe streaming while I'm streaming, but they're always like popping in or being supportive. So that's who I've been trying to target. Some of the people I've brought in with games, I haven't had the most luck of finding, say, the same game, because I'm playing a bit older games right now. So a lot of them, the other streams are all in Russian and stuff. But I've been trying just supporting the people who support you and just kind of building the community from within. I think that really helps if people see your name a lot in the chat and they see you host and raid and stuff. I think they'll be more likely to support you right back.
Right. 100% agree. Yukon, you got anything?
Yeah. I actually have pretty mixed feelings about it. I don't know, when you're talking about a smaller rating a bigger, what is in your opinion, what is the largest that you would say you should be rating to kind of follow your guidelines?
I would say 20 being the max. But I would probably stay within that 10 to 15. Doubled what you have maybe at that range. And as you go up higher and higher, I think you go kind of a lower to lower percentage. I don't really necessarily have a strict guideline for that. I just, if you have 5 people and you're rating somebody that has, 20, they'll be appreciative of it. But I think you'll get more appreciation from somebody that has like 5 viewers themselves, or even 10 viewers, because you're now increasing them 50% more. If they have 10 viewers and you have 5, you rate them with 5, now they have 15. So that's a pretty big increase. And if you look at any of the games out there, I should say a lot of the AAA games out there, when you move up from 5 to 15, that's like 4 or 5 browse pages. But
Right.
If you're talking about like an older game, Zelda Breath of the Wild or something like that, you might move up a few spots, but not like drastically.
So again, hopefully this is a this is a time and place where we can, I know it is a place where we can not feel like we're flexing. But when I'm,
Flex.
what's that?
Weird flex, but okay.
When I'm streaming in the morning and I have anywhere between 70 and 100 and whatever people, and somebody raids me with 10, I don't think that I've ever felt like maybe they should be rating somebody lower, smaller than them. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever personally gotten that, that feeling of, hey, I don't even know what that feeling would be like. I don't know. I'm not sure. I do think that you're not wrong in the fact that you need to be a little conscious of it because excuse me, sorry, like, you know, you're going to make a much bigger impact on somebody's channel, rating somebody with, you know, maybe, you know, 10% more than you or whatever, you know, if even W, you're adding 50%, like you said, to their channel. I don't know. Just looking at it from the other side, I don't know that I've ever been annoyed or put off or anything like that by a much smaller rater. I would say there's 3 or 4 channels that are under 15 people that raid me almost every single day, and I look forward to those raids because I've gotten to know and gotten to love the people who come with those raids and come hang out from those channels. And I'm appreciative that they're sticking to, you know, hanging out in that channel before mine. You know what I mean? Like I think I would actually probably start feeling bad if I started seeing their names before the raids. You know, it to me, it feels like a true like mesh of communities when they come over, you know, from those raids.
Right. I will never say that I'm not happy when somebody raids me, even if it's only 1 or 2. You know, getting 1 or 2 more people, that's awesome. And I'm not saying it's not beneficial to either party, but like I'm more or less coming from the aspect of, okay, I'm raiding somebody brand new. I've never met them before. I've never been part of their community before. And you get raided by somebody brand new. I'm not saying that they're not going to be appreciative of it.
You know,
but
that's actually a really good distinction. I think you're right on that. I think these other channels that, you know, I was using as examples that I get rated by, of the smaller channels, I think I got to know them for a little bit before they started throwing me hosts and raids. So I think that's a really good point, Hex. That's a really good distinction. Is, you know, I think you can get away with it a little bit more if you already have familiarity with the person, right? I think you're right, and I don't think you're wrong the other way either. You know, if you're looking at it purely from a statistical, you know, viewpoint, you're right. You're going to make a much bigger impact, and it's going to go a lot more noticed. I mean, I wouldn't lie. When somebody raids me with, you know, 50 or more people, that's going to grab my attention much, much, much more than a raid of 10. It's not that I, you know, appreciate one more than the other, but it's a much, you know, it's just a much bigger impact. You know, there's a lot more people, you know, percentage wise coming into the channel. So I think that's a really good distinction on your part, is, you know, especially if it's a completely random channel raid as opposed to raiding somebody that you're, you know, already friends with or familiar with. I think that makes a big difference as well.
Right, and that's kind of where I go with that. Now, if you're part of the community, you're part of the friend, you know, the friends, you've known them for, you know, whatever, you know, raiding them is not a bad thing. But like another thing too is, I try to raid a new person once a week, and then I raid then I see other people that I've been a part of the community or been part of all the joint communities for a while, and I try to spread the love between it, because I mean I want to see us all, you know, all of us grow and all of us succeed that's been in the circle. But I try to find a new person, you know, once a week, and then we come across amazing streamers. I mean, like the Betty Man. I mean, for a prime example, I think he was playing marbles on stream, and I rated him one day on that. And I always love, you know, being part of his community now too. So it's just like, you know, or you raid somebody that is super toxic, and the moment you get in their chat, like their raid message is something about like banging your mom's sister or something. I don't remember what happened, but it was super awkward. I think you were there, Yukon. I don't remember.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so what about the people that host you and then every 30 minutes they host you again? Because I have had that issue before. What do you guys think, or have you had a similar situation?
I actually don't think I've ever run into that. I didn't even. They must be waiting. They must be waiting like an exact amount of time or something, because I know, Like if I unhost Hex right now and rehost him, there's not going to be an animation. There's got to be like a cooldown time of some sort. I've never
I
run
know.
into that.
So
I know Twitch only lets you change hosts like 3 times per half an hour or something.
I think
so
it's per hour.
my comment on that would be, that's why I generally don't have hosts of 0 come up, and it actually might be right now. It might work, but you know, I've had people do that too, where they host my channel, and then like if you really like, if they keep doing it, you pull up their channel, and then next thing you know, 5 minutes after they hosted you, they've hosted somebody else. And then like 5 minutes after that, they host you again, or they host somebody else again. And so it's like, they're just jumping their hosts around. And that goes back to the stream etiquette side, is like, if you host somebody,
At least for half
like,
an hour.
what's that number that you should leave it on them? Do you leave it on them for the entire stream? Do you stop when somebody else comes on? Like whenever, I might be hosting, for example, like Deranged. He's in the chat right now. I might be hosting Deranged, and then like at nighttime, Fireball comes online, and well, Fireball's my wife. I'm gonna host her over anybody else. So it's like, it could be anybody. I might be hosting Yukon or Salty Caitlin. I changed my host to Fireball because I want to try and get my wife out there. But it's like, what's the number? It's like the only thing is like, you raid somebody, and they turn out to be like toxic, like that one guy. I immediately unhost, because I don't want that to be on my on my stream. I don't want my community to be going over there and being like, who's this guy? And then they're being toxic as hell, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to be part of this at all.
Well, as a streamer and someone hosts you like that, how do you like work with them? Like, how do you, like, if you ask them politely and they still do it, like, how would you handle that situation? Because I mean, I don't want to lose a viewer because they harassed me.
You've actually directly like reached out to them and said something, like called them out on it?
Oh yeah, privately, and then after privately didn't work, then live.
Man, I mean that would have been my suggestion to you, is reach out in DMs, and specifically ask them to not host multiple times in a stream. Other than that, I don't know. That's a really, beyond going to the point of ending up banning them from the channel, which I don't.
That's hard too.
That's hard, and that is hard, because I typically reserve bans for, really really bad stuff, racism, bigotry, whatever. That's a really tough situation. I really don't know.
I think a way to stop that is if you have the Streamlabs, what is this thing about?
Like right now, my host is set to 5 viewer plus only to send alert. But most of the time I always see when someone hosts me, and I always acknowledge it. Just, you don't get the cool gift and stuff now because of one person.
You keep cutting yourself off just too short by letting go of that push to talk button, so you need to hold it down for another second. The Streamlabs stream labels, right? So I have that up, right? If somebody comes in and hosts, you should be able to pause all alerts on that specific user, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
I think because
you can do it per user.
I think you can. I could be wrong on that.
I've never seen that.
Because like when let's see here. I'll have to test it out maybe after stream. Don't take my word on it.
Personally, I want everyone to feel welcome and acknowledged in my stream, and I'd hate to like change the way I do things because of one person.
Yeah, and if Streamlabs doesn't have that, they need to implement that. So Streamlabs, I know you're listening. Get on that. Okay, so
I actually want to say one more thing on the topic, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, please.
I think there really is it really is a double-edged sword. This is, I don't know if this is necessarily on stream etiquette in general, but just a thought that I've always had. There is definitely there is a double-edged sword kind of, thing towards hosting people that you don't know, right? If you host people you don't know, that's a really good way to network and, find new people. Like, like you mentioned before, I wouldn't know you if I didn't know, if Chemex had not just, hosted a random channel. If I didn't know you, I wouldn't know Betty. I wouldn't know Bosch Gaming. I wouldn't know Deranged. I wouldn't know a lot of the people that are in chat right now or that are in your chat, period, Phoenix. If I didn't know you, if he hadn't done that, I wouldn't have known you guys. But then the flip side of that is you have the potential to run into something that you really don't want to promote. And once you raid, there's not really going back from that, because you've sent all of your viewers to their channel. It's not like you can just unhost. I mean, you can, but you can't just unhost and stop everybody from viewing it. I mean, that happened to me really early on, where I hosted a random Splatoon streamer that happened to be very different from my channel, and I was mortified. I actually ended up going back to my Discord, pinging at everyone and apologizing for that particular raid. I felt so bad about it. So it's like the huge reward, huge risk, huge risk, huge reward kind of thing. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, I just tend to host the people that I know a lot, which isn't necessarily that good for networking or meeting new people. But I just, man, I feel like I still have like, fear and nightmares from that one host a lot, a ways back.
So I mean, I think that goes back to, maybe having hey, I don't know this person. I don't know what it's going to be like. So, right before you raid, you just be like, hey, we're going to raid somebody brand new today. We want to spread the love. We're going to raid, a new person that we've never made contact with.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I'm going to agree or disagree with what their content is, but let's just check it out. Let's see what happens. And, I hope that it's not toxic. So here we go. Let's roll the dice.
I do like that you say that. I think that's a good way to do it for sure.
And I think I've said that a few times, and like I try when it gets close to ending time, I have the streaming computer, so I always start pulling up people that I might potentially raid, and not that I'm listening to them, but like I'm kind of watching, and I'm kind of watching their chat to see how their chat is, and then there's days that I don't even do that either. So, but I try to do it kind of that way too. I don't know. It's hard. But yeah, I mean, you just never know.
Yeah, I rated a guy one time. He was super awesome, and he had a cool personality, but he didn't allow emotes on his channel, and I was like, sorry, guys. No emotes. His bot started banning everyone from posting emotes. That was the last time I rated him.
Right. So is there any other discussion we want to have on that, or can we move forward?
I have a question.
Sure.
So I've read kind of both ways here on as far as hosting etiquette. Should you ask permission or just do it anyways?
I have never had anyone ever complain about getting a host or raid, but
Yeah.
I think that will be like more of like, okay, you have that maybe when you become the top 10% streamers, or you have like a couple hundred people in your chat that are legitimately all typing at the same time, and you can't even keep up with your own chat, and then you raid somebody else's chat with that, they might be overwhelmed. So like my only example to that from experience is when I was watching Shroud one day. He was like, okay, I'm going to raid a brand new person, like that's never been around before, and kind of go from there. Um, and he always asks if it's okay because he's raiding with anywhere between 15 to 80,000 people. If he ever asked me, I'd be like, "Are you kidding? Send him on." Like you're gonna make my dream come true. But there are some people that might say no to that. Because it's gonna change everything. Who knows?
Yeah, aside from very specific and very special circumstances like that, I've never heard of having to ask permission for a host or a raid. That's something that that's either, wherever you read that is either a really old article or old writing, or it's somebody who's maybe a little out of touch, because I don't think, aside from somebody being, annoying like they were to Fireball, where they keep hosting over and over and over again, I've never once, and even watching the most toxic of streamers, I've never once seen a streamer turn down or be upset about a host or a raid or something ever.
It might have been put in there as a disclaimer kind of thing, the little fine print, just in case
So-
somebody does get mad.
Another thing that you can do is for those people that do get mad, if you run into one of those like really really rare people that get mad about a host or a raid, you can just inform them that they can disable being hosted and raids on their dashboard in Twitch.
Or you could leave
Yeah.
their channel and just never go back. I mean, that's the great thing about Twitch is there's a billion people streaming and a billion people, watching. You can pick and choose your community. And if I ever came across somebody like that, I would never, I'd never go back to their channel again, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing with the permissions. Like, you can specifically turn off people hosting and rating you. So there should be no reason to complain about one,
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of maybe they only want certain people hosting.
Even still, they can turn off hosts and raids.
Again, I wouldn't want to know one of those people.
Yeah.
Again, just personally.
Thank you, next.
I feel like one of those people now. I'm sorry.
I had to ask.
No, it's fine.
No, it's a good question. It would be, honestly, I would be actually shocked and blown away if I came across somebody like that. And honestly, that it is a good question. I mean, I'm glad that you asked it, because I wouldn't want you to think that that's something that you should have to do, because it really, honestly, it is not. It's not. And I would run far away from somebody like that.
Right. I don't know. I've never come across that. But moving forward. Bosch Gaming. Let's see here. He asked a question. Let me scroll up. I cuss a lot. Maybe I should work on that. So I didn't have that topic in here per se, but that kind of goes to the streamer etiquette type of stuff, right? And I'll get into that on a little bit of one of the other subtopics as we get down. But you have, as long as you're not violating, TOS on Twitch, basically on some of their aspect. It just depends on like what you're streaming, what you're doing, and how you want to run your channel. I cuss on my channel probably more than I should. But it just depends on how you want to do it. I also have mine set to mature content for that exact reason. So I don't know. What's your take on cussing on stream and stuff?
To each his own. Just make sure you set it on mature.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with cussing. I don't cuss that much on my channel. I mean, I do from time to time, but it's never bothered me that other people do. The one thing that I would say, if you know for a fact that you are prone to cussing a lot, and you know that you're going to be joining a voice chat and like co-streaming with somebody else playing something like Apex or Blackout or something like that, I would be conscious of the way you talk when you're on somebody else's stream. And I think this is gonna probably segue us into another conversation about voice chat and about being on other people's channels, but you really need to be if it's your own channel and it's your own voice and it's your own community, I honestly, like Heck said, as long as it's not against TOS, you do you. You know what I mean? Like, you set the tone for your own channel. You know, you set the tone for the way your community is going to be. And if that's the way that you are, I don't think it's, I just don't cuss that much in my personal life. So I'm not like necessarily trying to be somebody different than I already am. I honestly think that, you know, that's something that I always tell people oftentimes is, you know, be you, don't be somebody else that you're not. Because if you act and behave like somebody that you're not, you're going to attract other people in a community of, you know, that is made up of people who are not like you and not like-minded. So you're going to end up, you know, having a community of people that you don't necessarily jive with. But as soon as you are putting your voice on somebody else's channel, that's when I would be very conscious of it and honestly err to the side of being more family friendly, unless you specifically have a conversation. You know, this is a point, you know, Phoenix, where, you know, permission or, you know, asking, you know, talking to the other streamer about it is fine. And honestly, that's a conversation you can necessarily have on stream. I don't think that needs to be off stream either. I think that's a very appropriate question to hop on VC and say, hey, you know, I know you're streaming right now. Just wanted to double check with you on what your stance is with, you know, curse words and stuff like that. I think that's a very appropriate question. I think it's a very important question to ask, because you don't want to put somebody else in a situation where now they're uncomfortable with the content that's on their stream.
Exactly, 100% on that. Because when I was playing, even when I was playing Blackout or Sea of Thieves, when I ran into a new person, you know, that I'm playing with, hey, you know, the first thing I always say is, hey, I'm streaming. Are you okay with that? And they're like, yeah, what do you need me to watch? Cussing, whatever case. I'm always open. I was just like, as long as it's not, you know, TOS or something that's going to be like that. And if you have any questions on that, I can go into more detail. And, you know, if you say something, I'll let you know. And if you say it again, then I'm going to remove you from the group. You know, I've been fairly upfront on that aspect with that side. Phoenix, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just put it in chat. I was just going to say thanks. I was going to ask a question about that very subject that you come from.
Okay. We're going to be talking, and I'll let Fireball say something because she says she's wanting to say something here. But we're going to be talking more about the co-streaming a little bit on, so I don't want to get too far into that yet.
I can come back.
You can come back to it? Okay.
I can. I'll remember because I.
Okay.
I think Hex, you just quickly said something that I want to point out that I know you started doing when you were playing Sea of Thieves, is even though you knew that the other 3 people you were playing with weren't streaming, even though you knew that they were just playing the game, they weren't streaming themselves, you actually letting them know that you're streaming, I think is just as important, even though they're not streaming, because some people may not want to have their voice on stream. They might not want to be broadcasted, you know, on Twitch. So I think that that's also a really good courtesy check of, and I know a lot of people, when you said that, you know, a lot of people's reactions were, oh, do I need to not curse? And you would often say, no, it's not that at all. You know, obviously you need to be, you know, nothing racist or anything like that, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I was streaming, that your voice was going to be on my stream and stuff like that. And I think that was something that I always looked up to you at, you know, for is giving them the opportunity to know that their voice is being, you know, streamed. So this isn't necessarily just for other streamers. It's really for anybody, giving them the right to know, what is happening, with their voice.
Right. Yeah, thanks on that. Yeah, I that's another reason why I wanted to do it. Fireball has something she's going to say now.
It's along those lines. I was going to save it, but it fits in too well. For me, y'all know I kind of troll a little bit. I try to be a friendly troll. I mean, if there is one. But I don't let people know when I'm playing solo that I'm streaming, because I want their authentic reaction to some of the, how should I say this? silly things I do, might not be the correct word, but I think anyone who's seen my stream gets the gist of it. But if they're in a platoon with me or in a group with me and we're constantly playing, then I make them aware that I am streaming. And then along the lines of bad words, most of the time I will kill my stream audio and I will let those people know the words that they cannot say. And then if they say it, that way there is no confusion. Like, I will let them know, like, exactly. But other than that, like, I don't care if my teammates cuss or whatever, as long as it's not those specific words. But, and that's an instant ban, block, no longer your friend if they do say it after that point, if I've already informed them, unfortunately.
All right. Okay. So, unless somebody else has another comment on that, I want to kind of go back towards the route I was going. We'll get back to the co-streaming aspect in a little bit because I have a lot of stuff I want to touch up on that. The next thing I want to get into, and it's going to be, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be pretty the same on this one, but we'll see. The next one is backseat gaming. I literally can't say it any better than Mr. Kemek said on Twitter. So I'm just gonna read this little tweet out that he had. Before you give a hint to a streamer about the game they are playing, think to yourself first about how cool that moment was when you experienced it for the first time. Let the streamer have that too. Seeing their reaction will be so worth keeping your spoilers to yourself. Don't backseat game anybody. It's okay to say, hey, would you like a hint? Or would you like, something like that? But don't just come in and be like, hey, it's over there on the left underneath the pile of rocks and there you go. Or there's going to be something coming up, or you know what I'm saying? Like, don't backseat game. Don't. Just don't do it.
I'm just going to say something about what Fireball said, because she totally didn't. She says that she backseat gamed me, and she didn't. She asked me, oh, did you get to this part yet? And I had no clue what she was talking about. She's like, okay, I won't say anything more, which was fine, because it wasn't like she gave anything away. And I've been playing a lot of like story-based games, and I was like afraid of people coming in and spoiling stuff. And I think what might be doing it that I'm not actually getting any of that. I'm not really getting a ton of backseating. Like, I like hints and help, so I've been getting help. But where I haven't been getting spoilers and things is I don't think I play up the fact that, oh, I'm doing this blind, no spoilers, don't do it, because it's almost like encouraging trolls to come in to say, well, your stream title says, don't spoil this game for me, and then the trolls come in and say, well, I'm going to spoil it. But if you just have like a normal title, and even if you still have blind playthrough in your playthrough, if you just have a normal, regular title, and it just, like, they just think you're playing the game, like, you're not going to encourage the trolls to come in and say, well, I'm going to spoil the game because she told me not to.
That's
absolutely right.
That's a good point, 100%.
You should try Undertale.
I'm afraid to try Undertale.
I'd like to see you stream Undertale and then come back to the discussion and tell me that.
But even when you were playing Undertale, I'm pretty sure you put like in the title like blind, like first playthrough.
I did,
spoils.
and you're right. That you're 100% right. That's actually a really good point. I never thought of it that way.
It's just an idea. Like, obviously,
yeah, no,
I
that's
don't know
a really
that
good
for
point.
certain, but
I'm gonna try that next time for sure, 100%.
another controversial game incoming.
I'm
in charge now.
Deranged. Thank you for the raid, buddy. All right. Anybody? That's a good point. I never thought about not having blind playthrough through there. It's probably 100% you're in getting the trolls to come in and ruin the game for you.
And when one person comes in and says something, even just like a little bit hinty or a little bit trolly or spoily, if you like pay so much attention to it, it's just going to encourage, like, if you start getting upset about it, it's just going to encourage it and feed it and fuel the fire.
Right. Anybody else have anything on that? Because I have a lot of subtopics that I wrote, and
I think titling your game can definitely help with trolls, and how you present yourself on your stream helps with trolls as well. I just posted in chat. I think girls have a little bit more of an issue with trolls. I may be wrong, but I feel like
Nah, you're
being
right.
a girl, you get the door's already cracked open. Being a guy, the door's closed for trolls, but being a girl is cracked. And then based on your stream title, what you're streaming, and how you act on stream, depends on how big that door gets open for the trolls. So be cautious of that, depending on how you want your chat to interact with you, and if you're ready to take the challenge of trolls or not with your titles and how you present yourself.
right. You're 100% right on that. Looking back on how many trolls I've had, and looking at how many trolls you had, and how much I stream more than you do, it's significantly different. But I mean, I don't know.
I also kind of bait them with my. I bait trolls alone with my freaking stream titles. Pew pew, penetration, girls and panzers. I mean, that's cracking that door.
Oh gosh.
I mean,
Oh man.
it's true.
All right. The next, along those lines with the backseat gaming too. Don't, like, one of the things too is don't ask the broadcaster why they're playing game A and not game B, or asking them, hey, why aren't you need to go play Fortnite because I want to watch you play Fortnite. Like,
I get that
don't,
all the time.
like that. I feel like it's kind of just the wrong thing to do. I think the better way to approach it is hey, I really enjoy when you play game A. When are you gonna play? When are you gonna play Fortnite again, or when are you gonna play World of Tanks again, or when's your next stream gonna be that way? But don't go and be like, oh, you need to play this, or you need to play that. Like, if you don't enjoy a game that somebody is playing, then just click on that. Click on the next person that you have followed that's playing the game that you want to watch. Or so, where I enjoy everybody being here with me through every single game, I realize that not everybody wants to watch me play
Talk shows of private
a specific game or do a specific thing. So it's a hard thing to do as a broadcaster, switching games, and you do lose some people doing that, but it's you just physically can't play a game the same game all the time. Changing it up, it's fun changing it up. Like, if you caught some of my streams lately when I've been playing Apex, dude, I've been having a blast. So I mean, and I think you guys can tell when that happens too. So that just on that side.
Just FYI, I only have like 20 more minutes.
Okay, no worries. We'll breeze through the next couple.
You don't have to rush or anything. I was just letting you know that I only have 20 minutes.
I know. I want you here for a specific topic.
Can we jump to it?
I want him here for the. I want you here for the whole time. You can't leave. You can't leave. Just kidding.
Can we buy your time?
You'll have to fight Bumble for that.
We'll send you cookies.
All right, you convinced me.
I'm just messing. All right, so the next topic is like moderators. It's like a moderator discussion type thing. So what I want, so kind of the backstory on this. It hasn't necessarily happened to me specifically, but I've seen it happen in another chat. You should never ask to be a mod in somebody's chat. Like, and the flip side of that is you should never, and I'm guilty of this, you should never mod somebody without asking them. Sorry, Yukon. Sorry, Caitlin. You guys are stuck as my mods forever now. You guys don't get a choice. No, but you should probably never mod somebody without letting them know or talking to them first, because like, it's first off, you want to try and get on the same page of what you want on your channel and what you don't want on your channel. And the other caveat to that too is if a moderator does a specific action, they ban somebody, they time somebody out, they any of these factors here, right? You do not want to call them out. Be like, why did you ban them? Or you're wrong. You shouldn't have. Yukon, you banned Caitlyn. Why did you ban her? Like, who do you think you are? Like that kind of stuff. Like,
She said,
it's.
As she said, elbows.
Let me finish. But see, now Fireball got me off what I was saying. But basically, if you're gonna question one of your mods, do it off stream. Do it in a PM. Talk to them and figure out what's going on, why they banned them. Twitch has a new mod tools now. So when you click on somebody's name, if you're a mod, you can see all of their chat messages that they've had. You can see how many times they've been timed out, how many times they've been banned, and then you can actually, as a moderator, you can put why they were banned in the past. So now you have that ability to kind of do that stuff, as moderator tools. And so you should be able to communicate with your mods and figure out why they did something. Never call them out, because you know what, mods are amazing, and they do a lot for everybody's channels, and
basically free work.
yeah, for free. And like, you never want to make them feel like they did something bad. I mean, you should support them 100% because they're basically. Wait, free? I'm out, Caitlin. Oh no. I'll send you cookies too. Don't tell anybody else.
I mean,
No,
okay.
but
I guess I gotta bake here soon.
yeah. 100% trust your mods. Let them help you. And then you can talk off stream in Discord or anything else.
I had an instance where someone was like, why'd you let your mod ban me? And I was like, well, my mods are always in my channel and they're my #1 viewers. And if they don't like what you're saying, I'm going to support my mods because they support me. So we can talk about this, but I'm going to support my mods on whatever they do. And I had to tell someone that basically in a whisper, and they were just super upset about it. But I was like, obviously he needed to go. So thank you, mods. And it's another private whisper, but
Once again, it's the support the people who support you the most, and the people who are showing up and helping you on stream for free with nothing to ask for in return. Those are the people that are helping you out. You gotta side with them if there's some kind of dispute.
and plus, I mean, the way I act on stream, I'm very open, I guess. And my mods are almost more protective of my, what's a good word for that, image than I am of my own. So I think Derange could vouch for that one as well. He was like, oh, hell no. And I was like, Derange. Did anyone understand that? Did I even make sense?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
followed.
it made sense.
Any further comments or anything on that?
No, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I a big problem that I see, people, a mistake people make, especially really early on in their streaming career, is modding people who are around the most as kind of almost like a reward. Modding somebody should not be a reward for like thanking somebody for hanging out a lot or being loyal or whatever it is you want to call it. I think it's really, that's one of my favorite things about the new VIP badges that they gave, that Twitch came out with, is I think it promotes a lot less modding as a reward as there used to be. I used to see, in fact, I'm mod in like, I don't even know, 6 channels. I'll type in somebody's chat and I'll be a mod for the first time. And it like, and then that, you know, that kind of points back to what you were saying is I've never modded somebody in my channel without asking them first. I don't, you know, even if I have an epiphany during a stream, like, man, I really wish this person was, you know, as a mod in my channel. They're awesome. One of the things, it actually, that brings up a little, you know, a little side comment. One of the things that, that for me personally, is a good indicator for someone who would make a good mod is somebody who says hi to other people in your chat. So when somebody new comes into your chat, if they're the first person to say hi to them, I think that's a good person to consider for modship. And I think the reason for that is people see that green, you know, that green sword in chat, and I think they look to that person to kind of see what's appropriate or what's expected or what is, they kind of set the tone on top of what you already do, because you know, you can say hi as the broadcaster, but you're not in chat, you know, saying hi as well. And there's a difference between streamer and chat interaction and chat interaction, right? And so you want somebody who is in a authoritative position setting the tone for chat to chat interaction. And so that's really something that I always look towards. So if I ever identify somebody who, you know, who I say, I think this would be a person who not only I would trust with my channel, because in the end of the day, that is really what you're doing. You're trusting them with your channel, but also somebody who represents your brand well and who, you know, is going to set a good tone. But again, I think you need to go to them first and ask, because it isn't just something to be taken lightly, right? It's a responsibility. You don't want to give somebody a responsibility that they don't necessarily want. There's several people I've been told no a couple times before by other people, and it's not that they don't want to help me out or whatever. They just, they don't want to have that responsibility. They want to be able to just sit back and enjoy without having to feel, even though I always tell them there's no pressure, I don't expect anything of my mods. They don't want to feel, you know, that pressure. And I respect that. It makes me glad that I asked them in the first place, because I would have felt bad modding them and then them being like, well, I wish this hadn't happened. Because then, you know, like I said before, I've commented in chats for the first time, and I have a mod sword, and I have a decision then to make. I either have to be okay with being a mod and just, you know, living with it, or I have to have that uncomfortable conversation of saying, hey, can you unmod me? Because that's not a very comfortable position to be in.
Right. 100% agree.
And for smaller streamers, like maybe even if you're just starting out and you only really have like 3 or 4 or 10 people in the chat, I think it's important to control, like, you really don't need that many mods. Like, if you're modding every single person that shows up in your chat and somebody new comes in and every single person's got that green sword, that's a little intimidating. So really just kind of gauge. If you feel like you need another mod, like, wow, I really don't have a mod in chat for a while and I really feel like I need one on a regular, then look for a new one. But if you've got somebody that's there all the time and they're doing a good mod and you really don't feel like you need any more and you don't feel like you're lacking, you don't need any more. You're fine.
And in reality, like, I'm at that point too where, you know, I'm guilty of a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, you know, modding people for being in the chat all the time. Caitlin, Yukon, Gore, I mean, and not even asking, I just was like, hey, /mod, so, you know, that'll be perfect, you know. And you guys have done a fantastic job, so I don't regret what I put on you guys' shoulders. Sorry.
But that makes your advice 100% more real.
Exactly, Caitlin. And that's the great thing about having conversations like this, is that we're not necessarily talking down on people that do that. And that's why I said when I was talking about the whole mod thing, is it's often a trap that people fall into early on, because people eventually learn it. But if we can have this conversation now, and if somebody, you know, can be in chat and hear it now, you know, maybe they can learn before they make that mistake. And I think Caitlin's 100% right, is, you know, that the fact that you and I and, you know, whoever has made these mistakes before gives validity to, you know, to what we're saying, because it's not we're not trying to be a do as I say, not as I do. It's a, you know, hey, I made these mistakes so you don't have to, you know?
Right. I have a couple things that I want to read from chat real quick that are kind of in line with this. First, Psych Word Crazy, welcome in. You have a very fantastic question. We will, like I said in chat, we'll cover that in just a few more minutes when we get to that when we get to the co-streaming part. And then let's see here. Earl of Enums said, Yukon, do you have any concern about your really friendly mods saying hi to a new person, and they just really wanted to lurk? Is it advisable to call out new viewers like that? I want to touch base on that first. Never call out your lurkers. But if it's a new person, they said something in chat, you know, they said hello, that's fantastic that your mods call them out. And I'll let Yukon answer the question too.
Yeah, I would agree. Are they knowing that these new viewers are out there because these new viewers are saying hi in chat, or are these mods opening up? What's that?
It might be coming from a new follow.
Or a new follow, or are they actually looking at the, you know, the viewer list? Because I think you can open up a viewer list of anybody's channel. Are they opening up a viewer list and going down the, you know, the list saying, oh, hi, Allrod. Oh, hi. You know, I'm not about to start doing that. But if this person said hi in chat, or they threw a follow, I think that's appropriate to say hi. I wouldn't continue say hi till they respond. But if you see a new name come up in a follow, or they say hi in chat, I think that's totally appropriate to say hi, but then drop it from there. But if they're opening up your viewer list and adding people in your chat that who have not, you know, put through a notification or who have not said anything in chat, I do think that that's inappropriate. I think Hex is right in that you should not be calling out your lurkers. That's a really good way to get somebody to close out of your stream, open up someone new, and never come back. There are just people out there who prefer to enjoy the content and sit back and relax, and don't necessarily want to interact, because at that point you're putting them in a position where they either have to feel bad for not responding, or they have to do something that they're not maybe necessarily comfortable with.
Right.
I definitely say hi if they type in chat, but and if they follow, it's not bad to say hi as well. But if they're lurking, I would avoid it.
The next question is from Clark. Clark Extreme. My question is, my mod is super trustworthy. I love him to pieces, but he's playing with me most of the time on Smash, but it's sort of a conflict. He can't really mod.
Having that as a mod's not bad.
So I would say that, like, if you trust him as a mod, and he's around, even if he's playing Smash with you and he's watching the chat with you, he can still do mod duties. You know, if he has a second monitor there or something, and he's able to watch, if you know, but it's the same aspect. Is for me, I could honestly, probably until recently, I was able to do a majority of my stuff with little help from mods because of a 2PC setup, because I literally can click on somebody's name and time them out. But there are times when I'm in an intense moment, when I'm, you know, sitting there in a gunfight and blackout or something like that, and I totally miss chat for 5 minutes, and then I come back and like 3 people were banned or something, and I'm like, what the heck just happened, you know? So it's like it's still good to have those mods, but if you're playing with somebody, it's not a bad thing to have them as a mod still. It's still, you want to have people that are active in chat per se as well, that are able to watch your back when you can't, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. I honestly, and I've said this since day one, and I said it earlier, I don't expect anything of my mods. My mods are there just to back me up. At the end of the day, your channel is your responsibility. You are the number one mod of your channel. It is it is your responsibility to keep your channel modded. Now, we have the ability to make somebody in chat a mod to give you, to kind of back you up in certain circumstances. But I don't think if you're, I think that's honestly, if you start worrying about the fact that they're not able to do mod duties because they're playing games with you, I feel like that's probably going to end up being a good way to chase somebody away from your channel, because they're going to start feeling like it's a job rather than something that they're happy to do to help you out. If you start, feeling like they can't play because they need to be doing mod duties. So, and I know that's not necessarily what you're saying, Clark, but just so it's clear, I don't say I expect anything of them. If they're able to do it, that's awesome. I appreciate the backup. But I don't, at the end of the day, I'm the number one mod, of my own channel. I control my own channel.
Nailed it.
100% nailed it. If there's no more comments on that, I know Yukon's running out of time here, and I would like him. There's one more topic I want him for every topic, but there's definitely one more I want to touch up on while he's here. Hopefully two, but it's okay. We can just get one down.
Prioritize.
I'm trying to prioritize. I can't. Okay, so no more comments on the moderation. Do I want to just skip to co-streaming since you got some questions on that? I do, but there's a really specific one I want to have Yukon here for, because I think it's important, and I think he'll really like this one. So we're gonna combine two into one and make it a little bit quicker, because one's really small and pretty cut to the point too. Self-promoting / promoting others in chat is a no-go, and it's not just in chat. It's if you're doing a co-stream too, if you're and that'll get touched up on the co-stream side as well, and then this is more chat etiquette aspect of it within the stream itself. And so, hey, I'm gonna go start my stream now, in chat or whatever the case is. It's not a necessary comment. Hey, I'm gonna go watch Yukon stream, or I'm gonna take off now and watch Unknown Era's stream, or I'm gonna go watch I Have Ash's stream, or whatever the case is. You don't need to do that. That's self-promoting. Whether you mean it or not, it's still a form of self-promoting. And if you need to leave to go start your stream or you're gonna go watch somebody else, it's very rude and discouraging to certain people. I don't take offense to it myself personally, but it's still a no-go, and I try not to have it because I don't want people to make habit of that in other people's streams. It's you can hurt somebody's feelings pretty bad if they're like, oh well, why do you want to watch Yukon stream over mine? Yukon gives himself a shout out.
Goes back to how a streamer can misread text as well. So keep that in mind if you are going to say that you're going to leave, and how you're going to say that you're going.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Dex.
Okay. And then the next thing I want to talk on before we open up the chat, before I throw something across the way towards Fireball.
I do want to say real quick that I agree with Ash in chat. To me, it is 10 times worse than saying I'm gonna go stream. When somebody says, "Hey, I gotta go," blah blah blah, just got on, or I'm gonna go watch. even I'm gonna go watch Netflix now or something like that. Even though I know my content is not on par with Netflix, it still stings a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of that to a certain extent. It's like, hey, is there any kind of show on Netflix that you'd recommend? And it's like, what? Like, what, you don't want to watch me? Like, what's the matter? And it's like, most, in all honesty,
no, deranged. Actually, that is exactly what you should do. If you honestly, and this is what I always end up telling people when they do stuff like this, like, if you want to go watch somebody else, honestly, go watch somebody else. Like that is the beautiful thing about Twitch, is that you can watch whoever you want to watch, and or the internet in general, YouTube, whatever. Like, you have the choice to do that, whatever. But if that's truly what you're going to do, if you're leaving to go do something, watch somebody else, or go watch Netflix or do whatever, that's all you have to say is, hey, I got to get going, or I'm going to be lurking or something like that. Just saying goodbye. Like, if you come across a streamer who gets upset at you for not sticking around for your entire stream, that's a bad person that you don't want to be around, right? I'm not saying that I want you to be there for the entire time. I'm appreciative of every second that you choose to spend in my stream. The problem is when you specifically go, all right, blah, blah, blah is on, now I'm going to go watch him. If that really is the case, more power to you, but just say, hey, I'm going to lurk, or hey, I have to go. That's really the way to handle that.
Or nothing at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, just leaving isn't that bad of a thing either. Like,
I mean, as a streamer, I may continue to talk to you like you're there, but if you're not there, it really doesn't matter because you just won't answer. So, whatever. I just might be talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's that goes back to like the don't call out the lurker aspect too. If they haven't responded to you, then you probably don't want to keep calling out them.
Well, yeah, eventually you get the gist.
So
Depends how drunk you are.
the second part of this, and this for me has been kind of a hot topic more recently. And this is about bit donations, sub donations, or just donations in general. So this is going to be please don't interrupt me here, because I have a couple of things I want to say on this first, and then I'll open it up and let everybody know. First, there's really a lot of amazing people in this world that support broadcasters. Everybody. They enjoy being part of the community, and they choose to support that community. And still, I feel I can feel uncomfortable at times when people donate a lot of bits, or donate a lot of money, or drop a bunch of subs on me, like, because I still kind of feel like, man, am I worthy enough for that? Like, but like, I appreciate all of it. How do you thank them? And this is a question to think about in the back of your mind. How do you properly thank somebody other than just, hey, thank you so much for your generosity and your support? I mean, and on top of that, like, what you don't want to do, and I've seen it, I've heard it in my voice chat, and it will not happen again, because if it does, that person will be removed. But like, wow, you must be like a millionaire or loaded to be able to donate that much, like, that's just not, like, don't call out somebody's top donator in chat, whether it's voice chat, inside of chat, whatever the case is. Like, if somebody is wanting to support the channel, thank them, spam the channel with emotes, be like, hey, thank you so much for supporting this amazing broadcaster, thanks for supporting the channel, and be thankful for that. Because honestly, like, if it wasn't for those donations, the broadcaster probably couldn't be here as much as they are. They won't be able to afford the equipment to continue to streaming, and that kind of stuff. It's like, you don't need to know what that person is doing. It kind of goes back to the very the very, very first topic. What else do you do besides stream? Well, this kind of goes to asking about other people's private lives. Like, you don't need to ask them or mention about them being rich or anything like that. Let them support the channel, and let them, like, don't harass them about it, because that's, I think, counterintuitive. Everybody should have the right to be able to support, the broadcaster or channel in their own way, whether they want to, be gracious enough to donate, or they just want to be here and chat. That's, to me, being here and just chatting my channel is. What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Let's see here. Those who support the channel financially, help make this channel better. I've put every single penny back into the channel, from growing to improving equipment to everything else. And hopefully, I'll be able to eventually utilize some of that to help support me in general as a person. Maybe I'll get to that point. But I, never call out somebody who's supporting the channel like that. And I'll open the floor up from there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't agree. I mean, even if you try and look at it from both sides, there's one of two possibilities. Either yes, they are rich, or no, they're not. And if you look at it from both sides, it still doesn't even make a difference. Like, even if they are rich, that's still generous of them to give their money to you. Like, that's generous of them to support your channel at all, even if it's a single bit. So I don't know why them being wealthy or them having money. You're amazing, Gravy. Even them doing that doesn't negate their generosity, even if they have a bunch of money. But if you flip it to the other side, if it is actually a big sacrifice of, on their behalf, like if they're, actually, they work hard for that money, by saying that you're downplaying their generosity. So honestly, it's rude either way. It doesn't matter the financial position of the person. It's generous either way. They don't have to support the channel if they don't want to.
100% on that. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it just goes into shaming people for having money, shaming people for not having money, and just not. I mean, you have no idea what their position is, and it's just not okay to assume that they're rich or assume that they're poor or anything like that. Just accept that
Agreed.
they're being generous, and just go with it. Don't assume that they're like stealing their mom's credit card, or don't assume that they got some kind of crazy inheritance. Like, even if they did, even if they are, they're being generous, just let it go.
So yeah, 100%. I also want to say, Gravy dude, thank you so much for your support and generosity, buddy. I really do. I mean, I don't know what else. It's always crazy getting some of these donations, and people supporting, because I don't know how to say thank you enough, and for the support and everything. So, I do appreciate it. And, I don't ever want to see, like, for me personally in my chat again, having somebody get called out like that, because it's, what happened, like, was super awkward, and I put a stop to it. I feel like I put a stop to it pretty quickly, but like, it was super awkward for me, and I can only imagine for the person that it happened to, like, they're willing to support the channel and stuff like that. And it's just like, that would drive, like, if I had that kind of, ability to support somebody like that, and I went into in their stream, and somebody called me out like that, and it just happened, and it just kept happening, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. It's just so weird.
It's already awkward enough having someone support you, for me, because I feel, sorry I cut you off, Caitlin.
No, I cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm already so gracious that someone wants to support, me and Hex, or even one of us as an individual. But oh my god, I lost my words here. I'll come back to it. You go, Caitlin. I totally lost my words.
Well, I was gonna say is, like, if you're in a position where you're thinking, wow, this person must have a lot of money, just like go sit down and think about it for a second. Like, say you wanted to support this streamer, and you say, well, I'm going to save up a bunch of money all this month, and I'm going to cut out whatever good thing I treat myself to, coffee every day. I'm going to stop getting Starbucks every single day, and I'm going to save up my pennies, and I'm going to put a big dono or a bunch of gift subs to the streamer at the end of the month, because I'm going to surprise this person. And say you worked super hard to save up that money, and then you drop all those donated subs, and then somebody comes in and says, wow, you just must be rich. Like, wow. And it diminishes all the work that you put into saving that money to support that streamer and show your support and how much you care about this person. And it just diminishes that into, wow, you must be rich. Can I have a sub?
Yeah, that goes, that's another talking point down the road is never ask for
It
never
was a
ask for
good
free
segue. Don't you think?
it was never ask in chat for a free sub. And like in all honesty, and like maybe I'm speaking for myself on this aspect, but like if I see somebody ask for a sub in my chat, and like I would honestly rather somebody not be generous and give them a sub just on the aspect that they asked for, even though like it is supporting me and it's supporting the channel, and that would be that sub I lose out on. But like it bugs me, and it irks me. Like I don't, like if you're part of the community, if you're part of the community, there's some generous people within the community, that are handing
Do what
out
you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
that are handing out subs. That are handing out subs to people like Gravy right now, giving one a tier 1 to Eye of
Remember what
Ashes.
Texas is mine.
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
I love you guys.
Lord.
And Left Coast with the tier 1 as well. So
Did you bring us Vans? No, I'm just kidding. Are you done, Heck?
no, I was talking, but then my microphone cut out there for a second. Yeah, Eye of Ashes. I'm slightly bothered when people say, "Oh, my sub ran out," knowing full well they will get one when doing that. Yeah, that's the same thing. Is like I don't. That's another thing. Is like I don't like that aspect either. I would almost be like. I would almost
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
You guys are
Well,
nuts.
since we're doing this right now, less than 3.
you guys, thank you. The Gravy, thank you for your gifted sub. Left Coast Lauren, thank you for tier 1 sub 3 months in a row. And then Unknown Era Films, thank you for the tier 1 10 months. 10 month streak, dude. That's crazy. Since we're all doing that right now. Thank you guys so much. Now I'm kind of falling off topic here. Where was I?
I can take over.
Go ahead, Fireball.
Oh shit.
Well, yeah, like, I just hope that when people, donate to my channel or whatever the case, or sub or whatever, I just hope that I'm truly providing them with content that is worth it to them. Because, like, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. My self-worth is not always the greatest, so I'm always like, I hope I'm providing the best content or whatever. So when it comes to like that, I really question myself to make sure that I bring them what they want and make it worth their while for all their generosity and stuff. And then there's another topic, but we'll get back to that.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to touch up on on that discussion that we've talked about so far on that?
Oh God. What do you do when someone wants you to do something for bits? Or how do you guys handle it? I have my own little method, but it might not be the bit more input, especially as a girl.
First off,
Yeah, it's the easy way.
first
I have
off,
student loans, so I'm for sale.
Yuck!
oh my gosh.
Again, much easier to say as a guy, though. So I agree with you, Fireball.
For me, I can't say I've ever been asked, say, like, oh, if I give you 50 bits, will you do this? I have never personally been asked that. I've only been streaming for 2 weeks. But I would say it's hard because it could open up a box that you don't want to really crawl into. Like, it could start out of, oh, if I give you 20 bits, will you burp? Like, something weird like that. But it could open up a box that you don't really want to go down.
Yeah, I've had some pretty outrageous, to say the least, requests. But I mean, like I said, I do open my door with some for troll.
I think a better way to handle that might be maybe rather than you doing something, like having specific alerts, like, the standard jump scare or the music or whatever. I think
Well,
that's a better way to go.
That's another reason why I kind of have like my roulette wheel is to
Right.
help. Oh, well, I'll, here's something. But I mean, and it's fun. But I mean, there's still always those people who think they can buy you, I guess is the better.
You cut yourself off there shortly.
It's always those people who think they can buy you. So how would you guys handle it? And if anyone in chat has, their own ideas of how they handle it, please feel free to share if you wish.
Simple. I'm going to touch base on this real quick. Simple. No. Just no.
Yeah.
Just simply respond with I'm not doing that, because there's a fine line, because like I remember watching like people who got banned on Twitch through YouTube videos just because I wanted to see what people were doing stupid like. And one, like I was watching, I don't remember the person's name, but she was like doing stuff for bits in that regard, right? And like somebody donated like I think it was like $50 or something, so she would slap herself in the face. Well, that's self-harm, and it was reported to Twitch, and then she was banned off of Twitch. So it's like you like Caitlin's right 100%. You put yourself into a box of all of a sudden, well, you did this for that, now you have to do this for that, and then all of a sudden you get on that slippery slope where now all of a sudden you're going downhill, and what are you not going to do now? What's the what's your limit? So I think it's better just to not do it.
It's a heart-shaped box.
Yeah.
Baby.
I would agree. I think a general no is probably the best way to go about it. I mean, like, I think it was almost a year ago now. Somebody told me if I streamed for 2 minutes with a shoe on my head, they'd donate $20, and I did it, and I never saw that $20, and I'm still bitter about it today.
You're not salty at all.
But my main point in actually saying this is there was another thing. If somebody offered $100 if I did something else, and it was just something stupid in game, and I did it, and the $100 donation actually came through, but about 3 or 4 months later, that donation actually ended up getting refunded, and not only did I have to give that $100 back, I had to give $20 on top of it for like the credit card charges or whatever. And I fought it tooth and nail. I fought it as hard as I could. So I think a lot of times, not only are you probably unlikely to get paid in the first place, even if you do, I think those are the type of people that end up probably doing the chargebacks the most. So the people who are the ones who aren't going to do chargebacks are going to be the one who are just giving out of the generosity of their heart. The people who are doing it to get a show from you, are the ones who are probably more likely to do that. And I don't mind sharing stuff like this too, because I think, just going back to what we were saying earlier, Hex, is I think it's since I've been there, I think, there's some validity to it. It helps to hear other streamers, that they've made mistakes too, and I've made plenty, and those are a couple that I've made. I mean, luckily the shoe on the head wasn't that big of a deal at the end of the day, but that giving back that $120, that hurt. That definitely hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I want all chat to know that I'm pretty good at handling these things, but some people aren't, and I still want to discuss the topic. So don't you all try anything sneaky.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing with that. And that's kind of the reason why I want to do these roundtable discussions, is because, everybody gets to share their knowledge on what they've gone through, so we can learn from everybody else's mistakes and like try not to walk the same path, being able to share each other's knowledge.
I think a fun way of doing it might be, sorry, I just had an idea, but a fun way of doing it might be like, you make your own dono goals, right? So it's like, if you despise pickles or something. I think a streamer I watch sometimes does this, I forget his name, but he hates pickles. So he has like a dono goal that's like ridiculously high that says like, I'll eat a pickle if it gets to this high. And it's like controlling your own content. You're not having somebody else pay you to make them tell you what to do. You're saying, hey, if this happens, I'll do this.
Can I jump in and say something?
100%, dude.
All right, hi everybody.
Uh,
um,
hold on one second.
so
This is Unknown Error Films for those who are just listening. So that's his voice.
Sorry, I got excited.
no, it's all good. It's all good. Hi everybody. So actually, this is something that's perfect for me to jump in and say, because like I do a lot of kind of incentive things basically every single week. On Fridays I do kind of like a community thing where I play together with my chat doing Smash or Splatoon or other games, and I do a thing that's 500 bits. I do a shot, I drink, um and my mods and people who have stayed in my community know that, like, one, I'm not going to go overboard. I have a hard limit and I'm out, and that's where it is. It's also obviously at like a higher kind of bit, and maybe some people don't agree with it, but like it's at a higher bit that I know it's not something that someone random will come in and do it to try to get something out of me, or it's, low enough that I feel like it's fun for someone who's been around for a while to be like, oh, yeah, here. And people are really good about it. I also recently did at the end of January was my birthday, and it was also an anniversary. It was since I started streaming. And I did a subathon where it was, however you want to support would increase the amount of time that I streamed for. I started at 4 hours. I went to 20 hours. And it was absolutely insane. And people were so respectful and awesome about it. And I did exactly what Caitlin said. I did things like hot sauce challenge. I did crazy things that I made myself so that other people didn't, choose what I was going to do for me. But I think it's, going back to something that Fireball said, where it's like, it's a weird thing when someone comes in and says, like, and this is just how I feel. It's a weird thing when someone comes in and says, like, they're doing like the bit donations, where it's like a single bit every single time just so they can get like an alert or a message or something. And obviously there's the great tools that we have, which is, you can set what is an alert and all those sort of things, which is great. I think for me, I don't know. And I said this in chat earlier. It's kind of a thing, like, I don't know if anybody agrees with this, where it's the idea of like throwing pennies at the streamer to be like, hey, look at me. Hey, do this. And any support is obviously completely and utterly amazing. But, I think there is a certain point to be like, your support is very much appreciated and necessary, but you're kind of also being annoying. You wouldn't go up to a busker and just like toss a penny every minute at them while they're playing. But I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on this. I've kind of rambled on. Sorry.
Like, I like where you come from, Unknown, because I like the interaction that you give your channel. And I'm sorry that I don't interact with you as much, but I do enjoy watching. But like, I like that. And that's similar to what kind of interaction I want to bring to my channel, because I definitely like the engagement of those kind of things that you're doing and that I'm, kind of doing too.
There are some bigger channels that I follow, ones that like have started doing more studio stuff and everything, and I look at what they've done with like trying to do programming and have audience interaction in RPGs or in other shows and gaming shows and things like that, and they say rather higher, obviously, because they have talent, studio fees, and all this other stuff. But I kind of see that, and I think that that's an amazing way to then try to bring in viewer interaction without it, one, that's supporting the channel, but then also making whoever is doing that feeling very much a part of the entertainment that they are helping create and push forward, even if it's like they do a donation or something and they make the entire thing swerve in a 180 that screws everything up but makes it funny and weird or whatever.
Right. It's kind of, it goes back to me personally, and this is everybody's preference on this. So like your drinking streams, or even Fireball's what she calls roulette streams, is she's got like a roulette wheel that like you get to spin if you donate X number of bits, which then you get to If it lands on a specific color, she might have to take a shot of something, or she might have to eat a Bean Boozled, or you might even win a free sub off of it, type of thing. But like, they're all really cool ways to interact with the stream. But at some, like, I guess my question would be, how do you plan on scaling that to when you become bigger and larger, and next thing you know, you have 100 people in your chat average, and your chat's blowing up? Do you have to raise that? What do you do? Raise that bar to a higher number, or now all of a sudden you have so many generous people donating in there, trying to get you to drink or trying to run the wheel so much? How do you, like, what do you do? Then people get upset because you've increased the price, and they're no longer able to do that because that's, they've only been able to do X number of support, and maybe they got you to drink one shot a week or something, and they could afford that. But now you jump up the price to double that to compensate for how many shots you have to drink, for how much donations you get, or something like that. How do you scale it?
I did have one experience where it was for that subathon stream and it was just me doing bad math of figuring out like where to get to what I would be comfortable with getting to a point of doing like the hot sauce challenge. And that was tricky. I have told the people who have been in my community for a long time that like there will be a point where it's either too big for me or too much for me to do something like a weekly thing like what I do, because then it's either going to get too much or there's it's reaching the point of TOS, which I don't want to hit. But yeah, it's like that's a good question. But I think it's, as you scale, you start to learn how to scale in certain regards. So I don't have an answer right now.
Shiver me
Obviously it hasn't happened
timbers.
yet. But I think once you kind of get to that point, the answers start coming. They'll start falling in place, and maybe it's doing different things. Maybe it's doing, maybe there's enough people to do merch giveaways, or maybe there's enough people to do an incentive for a special event, like a 12-hour stream or a 24-hour stream or things like that. But I think there's easy different ways to be able to find solutions to those things, rather than just increasing whatever it is, or making it less frequent or things like that.
I like your input on that. But yeah, I enjoy that interaction. And
Well, not off this. I want to keep to the stream etiquette. I don't want to bounce over to a completely different topic that's not on it.
Well, going back to the way to tie it here, this is a good way to tie it in, is that with the idea of like, people kind of mentioning in chat about like, oh, these people are supporting you, or, calling out those people who are, this is their, I said earlier, this is their entertainment, and they feel like it's more to it to then just taking it at face value and taking for granted the fact that it is free. And what I found is that there are some people time to time who come in and they kind of are like, wow, I can't believe this person's doing this. But I've also found that there are people who do come in and they say like, they see the participation that is happening, and then they want to get involved too. So it's learning how to easily squash the negativity and put the positive spin on it. And hopefully, going back to earlier, you have mods or you have subscribers or people that are around generally who can help facilitate that in chat. And I think that that's a good way to, try to take that negativity and turn it into something. But I do agree with what people were saying before, where it's like, if someone calls out like, whoa, you must have a lot of money. It's like, try to squash that negativity in chat right away. And, and like we said earlier, if you have great mods, they'll handle it in a pretty good way. Or just be like, okay, bye, you're gone forever now.
Right.
Bye, Felicia. Nice wrap up.
Okay. Is there any more comments or on that, or I'd like to move on a little bit. I know Yukon's probably at his time limit here. I still have a lot of topics here. It's already 6. And I have another 45 minutes or so, maybe hour max, before I have to go get the kid. And so I want to make sure we get through some of these other topics, especially some of these other ones are pretty huge in my opinion. Yeah, 30 minutes is way over, Yukon. If you need to go, Yukon, no worries. You can take off, buddy. I appreciate you being here and stuff.
Don't let us force you to stay. Your knowledge has been very helpful and very appreciative. Thank you so much, Yukon, for your streams.
Okay, moving on to the next topic. Co-streaming. This is going to be a pretty hot topic because this happens to me. I deal with co-streaming on a daily basis because I play a lot of multiplayer games that require multiple people, and more and more people are streaming nowadays, which is great. I love playing with other players. I love playing with other streamers. But the stream etiquette with co-streaming there have been a lot of issues between multiple things. And again, before anybody chimes in, please let me finish what I have to say, and then I'll open up the floor to everybody. The question that Psych Ward had is very valid too, and I'll cover that as well. And make sure you keep me honest, dude. I do forget sometimes. So at the end of this, make sure if I didn't answer it, to call me out. All right. So one of the things in co-streaming is having no crosstalk. One of the things I don't like is if I'm playing a game, if I'm streaming, and let's say I'm streaming with Fireball, for example, and she's got 4 viewers, right? And I have 20 viewers, something like that. Or vice versa, let's say I got 4 viewers, she has 20 viewers, right? And I'm reading her chat for her. That's a no-go. That's a no-go.
I think earlier overlays were not just being an example of harassing.
Okay, I'm going to throw something at you, Fireball.
That's exactly why you don't do it.
Okay, because you're gonna get me off track here. I'm gonna lose my thought process. Okay, so the see, she already threw me off. Okay, so you don't read somebody else's chat unless specifically that streamer's asked you to do it, or and they've said it's okay. Or if like in my instance, I'm okay with you reading the chat if somebody asks you a specific question. So like for instance, if somebody in Fireball's chat was like, "Hey Hex, what do you think about this?" Then I might just be like, "Hey man, I think this, and that." But like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh hey, hey Phoenix, thanks for being in Fireball's chat. I really appreciate it." Or like, Deranged just said, "Hey, see a bearded Jedi." Like I'm not going to read her, like her chat. Like it's rude. When I stream, I have a push to talk for Discord, and then my voice activity for my stream. In most cases, the people that I'm playing with will not hear me talk to my stream. Some people don't like that, but I don't like cross talk. And that goes into saying that like Fireball streaming and I'm talking to my chat and her chat hears me talk to my chat. Her chat does not have any idea what's going on in mine, so they're confused. So it confuses both chats when you have crosstalk going on, or we're sitting there playing a game and all of a sudden you hear, "Oh, hey, unknown error for this sub," or "Hey, thanks for the follow, so and so," or and then the other streamer hears it. Like it's like one of my biggest pet peeves is Fireball comes on and says, "Oh, hey, thank you for the sub," or "Hey, thank you for the follow," and that comes on over my stream too, and it's like, well, what are you talking about?
When I see that
Like-
up on your channel. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. Thanks.
Right. And so like
Thanks.
it's the crosstalk is not needed, and it's not like it's something that you have to learn to do that. But like for me, like that's me personally, and other people are okay with the crosstalk. But I don't know why it irks me so much, but it's just like it's like I take a lot of pride in knowing that I respond to my chat fairly quickly when I'm in that aspect, you know, and I try not to let stuff go. And when somebody reads my chat, it's like, oh, you're not keeping up with your chat or something, and it's like, dude, I got it, man, I got it. And Deranged, you new to that, so sorry. I know I do that. Yeah, it's never on purpose. No, dude, I get over it, but
Well,
don't do it ever again.
That's the whole reason for these, for these talks is you're not, you're, especially as a newer streamer, you're not going to know everything. That's, taking something away from this is a good thing. So nothing said here is, pointing at anybody or saying that people who do this are bad, but it's just a conversation topic to bring up, and to kind of go, a little bit further, on what Hex was saying is not only, should you be using push to talk when you're talking to your own chat and thanking people for follows and all that stuff, but like Hex mentioned earlier, if you're watching the other person's chat, you need to be really careful about responding to their chat because they've probably already responded off, on mute. You just didn't hear them. So for an example, if somebody's in chat and says, hey, what is the, if you're playing, let's take Apex Legends as an example. If they say, hey, what is that character's alt? What is their alt ability? And Hex answers that on push to talk, as he should, because he doesn't want to have a bunch of crosstalk and muddle up voice chat for the other players. And then you look over at his chat and you see that question asked, but you didn't hear Hex answer, and you start answering again. It can just create a lot more, noise and crosstalk that doesn't necessarily need to be there. So you just need to be conscious of the fact that it's probably already been responded to. So unless it's directly pointed at you, I would be very careful about responding to somebody else's chat. And I know I have this issue, especially I don't really typically ever do voice chat too much on my stream. But if I'm on somebody else's voice chat, like the day that I played Sea of Thieves on stream, and then I got offline and I just played more with Hex, because I'm so used to reading chat that it was like second nature for me to start answering Hex's chat and saying hi to people coming into chat. And it's not that I'm, it's just because it's like second nature to respond to chat. And then I realize that I'm doing it. And so it's not just newer streamers. It's something to get used to for everybody.
Right. And so yeah, thanks Yukon on that. And this isn't directed at anybody specifically, because this isn't just one person that like I've noticed do it, and I'm not mad at anybody. So please don't like take it personally if you've done it before and anything like that. I don't hold grudges like that. I get over things pretty quickly. It's all good. There's multiple people who have been doing it
We're still married,
recently.
so-
And here's Fireball over here still freaking talking over me.
Fight me.
So psych word crazy. How do you even set up push to talk on media streaming? Okay, so the question is you play on PS4 based on the party chat, right? So here's to answer your question is how do you control somebody else? Let me go back up here. Do I have it? Where's that question at? I wrote it down somewhere. It's up here somewhere. Bum.
While you're searching for that, can I say something real quick?
Do it.
So I'll say my experience with crosstalk and streaming has only really been as a viewer, and because most of my streams I think I've only done like twice, both times with Hex and Fireball. But most of the times I only have seen streams where it's either multiple streamers or streamers playing with a party and maybe the party's not not streaming, they're just playing together. But so it's like, what I've noticed that works a lot is if you're streaming with another streamer, one, I'm sure, go over some ground rules about how to set, how to handle it. Only look at each other at your own chat. But most of the time I've also seen them set up like a multi-stream, so then the audience can look at both chats, because I've had that experience with watching a stream and it's two people streaming with each other, and I can hear the other streamer while I'm watching the one, and they randomly answer a question or say something, but that's directed at their chat because they're doing something and they can't, they're either it's too intense enough, they can't do push to talk for their own chat, so they're just open talking. And that's cool. I don't really mind that. I don't really mind hearing another streamer say, thanking someone for subbing or whatever. But as a viewer, I've learned to I should probably watch this as multi-stream so that I'm getting all the information. Or even it's a thing of a viewer and a streamer knowing, as a streamer, try to make some ground rules so it's a bit easier for you all. If you're playing with random people, like Hex said earlier, let them know. But as an audience member, it's tricky because you kind of have to get used to it if that's what you're watching and realize, oh, this is how they're doing this. I will say, as a big tip for not learning how to crosstalk or talk over each other, improv training is very, very great, because you learn how to, and I did improv for 10 years, it's learning how to let someone else share a spotlight. And when someone's talking, you let them do it, you let them have their moment, and when there's a moment to come in, you go, and then you do your thing. But yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Improv definitely helps when the right time to come in is as well, because a lot of people, they come in and they weren't ready, the other person wasn't quite ready. But that also comes with playing with the same people over and over again and learning their personality. If you are streaming and you're watching your friend's stream and you see someone that you normally see in your stream and your friend's stream, don't call them out if you're both streaming together. Don't be like, hey, I see you over there. I mean, I do that sometimes, but only if they do at Fireball.
You cut yourself out there again on the last at Fireball thing. But basically, yeah, so it kind of goes on the second part that I was going to discuss too. But let me answer Psychword's crazy his question or their question. So how do you deal with party chat and not crosstalk type aspect on PlayStation and do it effectively? It's very, very difficult to do it on console versus doing it on a PC, because on Discord, I set up a push to talk on Discord. And so when I'm talking to my party, I have to press my thumb mouse button to talk to them. And then when I'm talking to stream, I just talk, and my stream hears everything. But my chat, my party only hears when I'm queuing up, hey, there's an enemy at 120 or whatever the case is, or whatever we're talking about. Alongside that is, it goes with the co-streaming aspect too. Another thing I wanted to touch up on was don't ever talk about the numbers. And this goes back to another topic or another subtopic coming up, is don't ever talk about the numbers of between you two people, or don't ever it's a self-promoting aspect, right? You don't, whether you mean to or not, I don't ever look at how many viewers I have anymore. It becomes discouraging, because all of a sudden you look down, you once had 50 viewers, and next thing you know you have 23, or next thing you know you have 5 or 10, or you might only have 10 viewers, or you get you get up there and you have 15, yeah, I'm hyped, I got 15 people. Then all of a sudden you look back down, you're back at 3, and you're like, what the heck did I do wrong? Don't look at the numbers. Go back and watch your VODs and figure out pay attention to your attitude. Pay attention if you're having fun, if you're negative. And this is all coming back down in a couple other topics. But that aspect is, don't look at your numbers, and don't be like, dude, you got 150 viewers, man. It'd be nice. It would be sure nice if other people came over to my channel and hung out. Yikes. Yeah. I personally, like anytime I'm co-streaming, I do a multi-stream. I always say it, and I don't say it every minute, but I say it probably at least once an hour. And I'm like, hey, here's a multi-stream. I'm playing with Fireball. I'm playing with Unknown Era. I'm playing with Yukon, whatever the case is, right? And here's a multi-stream for all of us. And whether people will not open it up or not, that's it's on them. Don't come on to somebody else's channel and be like, hey man, be nice if you're coming into my chat. And it's just bad. So going backwards to Psychward's question. I'm sorry, I keep getting sidetracked because of interruptions. I'll fight you over there. I'll get a snowball. I'll get a snowball. I'll dump you in snow. So how we do it, because Fireball plays on PlayStation 4 a lot. She has 2 microphones set up. She has the one that we use for the streaming computer, and that's what goes to the stream. And then she has one that goes to the PlayStation, which goes to the party chat. When she talks in party chat, she hits the mute button on the microphone for the microphone for the PlayStation, and her stream one's very rarely ever muted.
Never, unless I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, and so like basically that's how she does it. Other than that, there's really not a good way to do it. You kind of have to be, if you want to be able to limit the crosstalk, you have to have 2 microphones on PlayStation. There's just no way to get around it. Otherwise, you crosstalk over each other.
Or you don't play online games.
Right, or you don't play in party. Or you have, on your streaming computer, you hope that your friends have Discord too on their phones, and you ask them to hop on Discord on their computer or their devices that way, and you use voice chat on the computer. It is free.
That rarely happens for me, that PlayStation players will use Discord. So my biggest issue, obviously crosstalk. My biggest issue is not being able to mute people on PlayStation instantaneously, which can get really dangerous for TOS, and I've had a couple little hiccups there. But, the worst part about it is it limits the people that you have to play with, because now I have to pick people that I play with that is going to be good for my stream. So that's something you're going to have to think about crazy. Also, I would definitely suggest doing 2 microphones if you have the option to, if you're doing a PC setup with your stream. Other than that, it's just a challenge. It really is just a challenge, and I haven't quite figured it out. But when I do, I will definitely let you know, Crazy, if there's better ways to do it than what we're currently doing now.
I feel like there really isn't there typically, at least, I mean, it depends on the game, but there really typically shouldn't be a lack of people to play with that are either familiar with Twitch or stream on Twitch themselves. So I feel like, really, if this is a problem that you are having persistent issues with, I feel like maybe you just need to be pickier about finding people that will use Discord. You know what I mean? Like, there's honestly or even find your players, find players to play with through Discord. There's Discord communities for everything. If you want to play game A, B, or C, go Google around looking for a Discord community for A, B, or C. Oftentimes an easy way to do it is go find the subreddit that is assigned to that community, and oftentimes that subreddit will have their own Discord channel. If you find players to play with through a Discord channel, they're obviously going to be okay with using Discord themselves.
100%. Sorry, Fireball, I'll let you talk in a second. 100% agree with what Yukon just said. And Psychward said, so there's no way to nicely convince people to respect your stream if they aren't streamers and have no one or no care that you are. So I would 100% say that if you join a Reddit community Discord, most games have it. If you just add in like discord.gg/ like World of Tanks community, usually that's the Reddit community. Most of the time, the Reddit's Discord communities have the name of the Discord or the name of the game, and then followed by community. Most of them are like that. So, for instance, like Sea of Thieves one would be that one right there that I put in chat, and then that one's like, oh, I spelled that wrong. I mistyped. Fail on me. But that's like the example of that would be like the Sea of Thieves Reddit community one. I spelled thieves wrong. I missed the S. Anyway, but most games are like that, where you have a Discord community like that for Reddit, and those are usually the ones on how to find it. If people don't want to, like, there was a lot of people that I played with on PlayStation before I started streaming, and when I told them that I was going to start streaming, they're like, "Oh, yikes! I'm not gonna play with you." They don't want to have their voice shared on the stream, and you know what? That's their right. And I didn't take offense to it. I just was like, I moved on. I just like, okay, well, it's been fun playing with you, but this is something I want to do, and if you don't want to be part of it, then that's, I'm gonna have to move on. And that's kind of what happened. Is like I lost a good community of people that I was playing with, but they didn't want anything to do with the streaming aspect. So, it is what it is.
I would just be like, hey, I want to stream, and I'm going to stream this, and I want to make you aware. I hope you're okay with it. If you're not okay with it, maybe we can play another time when I'm not. My issue is people that, well, I'm a girl, so everyone wants to freaking play with me. My issue is people who want to play with me, who want to take the stream spotlight from me while I'm streaming. That's one of my struggles. And I'm like a really nice person. I'm the nicest asshole you'll ever meet. So I don't ever want to be like, hey, I'm not going to play with you, screw off, unless they really, really piss me off. So you got to know the person that you're playing with and how they react to things, and how you're going to tell them that you're no longer going to play with them during this session. So like a way is like, okay, well, this isn't going really well, and I realize that because my chat's not interacting with me like they were before I was playing with this person. Just be like, hey, I got like 1 or 2 more games in me, and then I got to bounce. I'm sorry. I'm going to do some other stuff. That's the best way to go about it. But sometimes they don't always take it well, and maybe those aren't the people that you should be with if you want to continue streaming seriously. So it's a little bit of a flip-flop on, who do you like playing with, who's good to play with while you're streaming. And you're going to have to find that balance based on your personality and the personality of the people that you're playing with.
Yeah, and just to reiterate to you, Psych Ward, I just we touched on it a little bit earlier, and I'll just touch on it again for you. Is when you start streaming, you start playing with somebody, and you go on voice chat with somebody, just have that little like mini script ready in your head. Go on to voice chat and say, hey, by the way, guys, I'm streaming. I just want to let you know, not only, so that, you have the option to, choose whether or not you want to be on stream or not. But also just to let you know that, and then this is where you insert whatever your rules are. So whether it is that you want to be more family friendly, hey, I can't have curse words, please watch your language, and then that those are your ground rules. Or I don't mind the language, just make sure you're not saying anything racist or bigoted or anything that's going to break Twitch terms of service. I would really appreciate that. From there, if they agree to it or whatever, and you move on, and then they start saying stuff that you don't necessarily like, you can give them a gentle reminder, say, hey, once again, just a reminder, I am streaming and I can't have that on my stream. Just be very careful about what you said. If they continue to not respect that, even though just that's just a part of being, a broadcaster on Twitch, is you're going to have to make the tough decision to just not play with them anymore. I don't personally do voice chat on my streams that often. I've only done it a handful of times. But I've watched Hex stop playing with players who are very, very talented, and maybe he would get more wins with these players, or maybe, if it was Sea of Thieves, they would be a better crew with these players. I've seen him stop playing with better players because either his personality doesn't jive well with them or they're not respecting his boundaries. And he'll go on to play something else, because honestly, above and beyond your gameplay, you need to watch after your channel and your chat, far beyond the actual game and gameplay. So I don't see anything, any issue with laying the ground rules first, being able to give them a couple gentle reminders, in between. But if it's a persistent issue that you're noticing with the same people, honestly, your only option is just to stop playing with them.
Nailed it. 100% nailed it, Yukon. Dude,
I want to add. Can I just add one quick thing?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Just to touch on it, I mean, we're also talking about like in chat and voice chat and whatnot. I've done streams where I've had my friends be on stream, and that's also been a thing of like going through with it in the same sort of way, but also, saying like, you're going to be on the stream, we're playing Mario Party, we're doing a board game night or something. And I had one friend who was like, oh, I really don't feel comfortable with that. And I said, no problem. It's cool. We'll play some other time. Same thing. Then the friends that did say, oh yeah, I totally want to do that, came on, we had a fun time. Then that friend saw what it was like and saw the stream. And the next time they're like, oh, that looked like a ton of fun and it looked like everybody was enjoying it. You know what? I'll give it a shot. And then they came on and they loved it. And so no matter which way you do it, if it's voice chat or even on camera or anything like that, again, like everybody here said, it's respecting their wishes, but at the same time, it's respecting their wishes if they say no. But then knowing yourself, if that person might cause troubles for what you're trying to do, I think it's a thing for streamers and even people in entertainment to want to put others before themselves, because they are sometimes willing to do things to get themselves like to a next level or try to move forward or things like that. But you always have to think what's best for you in that situation, and whether, are you going to really benefit from this, or is it really just going to hurt you in the end? Looking at yourself and thinking, like Yukon said, this isn't what's good for me, this isn't what's good for I want to do. Unfortunately, I have to cut that tie in that way, and then do it, but also think about what Fireball said, then say, hey, don't worry, we'll play next time, or we'll play off stream, or anything like that. Just try to try to make everybody happy.
It's a hard line to cross, and I run into it. Well, I used to run into it like on a daily basis between Sea of Thieves and when I first started playing Blackout. And now that I have a pretty good basis of, a group that are all like-minded players that I play with, it's happened a lot less. And eventually you get to the point where you have a lot of people who want to continue playing games with you. And then it's like, then you run into the challenge of how do you manage who's playing without offending somebody else. And I've failed on this even recently, and it's a hard line to cross, because you want to have you want to be able to play with everybody, but some days you just can't. And so one of the things that I have too, and it kind of goes with the crosstalk aspect, is I try to limit my chat to only, or the party chat or whatever you want to call it, to only have the people who are playing in the game. Once you start adding in other people who are outside of the game, then the chats, your chat becomes a little bit more crazy. Then you have people having side conversations, which is fine to a certain extent. But then if you have two groups playing two different games or whatever the case is, and all of a sudden you have 10 people in your chat now, you can't read your chat without talking over other people or muting your Discord to be able to read chat, so you're not cross talking, and it gets really, really hectic trying to do it.
I see that happen a lot on PlayStation, and it's definitely a little bit harder on PlayStation because it seems to happen more often.
More often. You cut yourself off again. I'm an hour over. I really have to go. Yukon, thank you for your input today and tonight, and I really hope that you had a fantastic weekend. We'll catch you tomorrow. I'll catch you tomorrow. If you guys don't know, Yukon, which most of you probably should, fantastic guy. There's his link right there in chat. Make sure you click on that and say hello. Give him a quick follow. All right, Psych Ward, you asked a question, and unfortunately, it didn't go through chat because of moderation. Basically, like, if I remember correctly, I can't see it because of Twitch. But basically, you're asking along the terms of how do you handle when people say a specific word that would be against terms of service. That's something I've ran into, and it's hard. So what I would say, what I say to that is, like, for instance, this happened to me recently. I was playing Blackout, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And yes, we do, Caitlin, we're okay. When I was playing Blackout, I joined into a random match, and I was playing with 3 other people that I've never played with before. I've never seen them before, and my name in Blackout or on any Blizzard game is Twitch Hexer. So you can see that I'm a streamer, right? You know that I'm on Twitch, and where that's been really good in other aspects, it's bad when you're playing with random people because some people want to just troll the heck out of you. Like this guy, like, came on into my channel, saw that I was in fact streaming, and then he continued to use the N-word, like back to back in a completely derogatory way, and just continued to say it and say it and say it and say it, and that's all he said. First off, like, I immediately muted the stream, so basically nobody else could hear it anymore. And then all I did was, unfortunately, like, all you can do is apologize to everybody that did hear it, because there's no way to filter it out at that point. It went through. All you can do is apologize that people had to hear that, and on top of that is you report them to whatever game you're playing. I reported them to Blizzard. I got a clip of it. I posted the clip link in the thing, and I reported them, to Blizzard, and they probably got dealt with. They probably got a ban, because that's that's against the terms of service. You can't do that. So what Yukon is 100%. Remember, you have to protect your channel above all else. It isn't personal, but you can't put your channel in jeopardy just because you want to save someone's feelings. 100%. You just have to shut it down and just be like, you can't say that. It's happened to me a couple times where people say a specific term, and I just said, look, I'm done. You've said it twice now, and I can't, if I allow you to be in the party anymore, then I'm choosing to support you and and that reflects on me too. So if you're going to continue to say these kind of words, or you're going to act like this, and you're going to discriminate, or you're going to be racist, or however you want to be, I have to separate myself from you, because that's not what I'm about. That's not what my channel's not about. And I've put in so many hours. This isn't even all the hours, right? Like, I do my bot. What is it? Oh, I can just do this. Doubloons, right? Dude, look how many hours. Look how many hours I have on streaming. I have almost 1,400 hours of streaming. And that's only when my bot is active. There's been times where I've left inactive, and there's been times, and I started streaming not even using this bot. So, like, I'm probably at more like 1,450 or 1,500 total, And so it's like, how many hours have I put in here? Not even to mention how many hours off stream have I put into this channel. It's way too much. Fireball could probably could scream too much, because I stream for 32 hours a week, and then I probably spend an additional 30 hours on social media, or editing videos, or that kind of stuff, networking with other streamers, all that stuff. Like, it's crazy.
He drives me bonkers sometimes. Sometimes I will literally hide his phone and laptop to watch a movie with. Now on PlayStation, it's also a challenge. Like for me, when I play with people, I warn them about the words. Like I mute my stream and I warn them about the words. Okay, if they mess up, they're gone for the day, and then I'll send them a message off stream saying, "Hey, look, I like playing with you, but this is not okay." And depending on the response depends on if I ever let them come back again. And then, but if they do it a second time, that's it. I'm done. I'm banning them from my PlayStation account. I will no longer have contact with them because my stream, to me, is more important than my friendship with them because I want to make this my livelihood as well. But right now I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't put as much time in it. But in the future, like I don't want to damage that because I wanted to play with someone that was toxic to my channel. Even if I love them and they're a great player, you have to choose. That's something that you as a person is going to have to choose between your stream and them. And if you choose them, know that it's going to affect your stream. So if you want to do this and continue streaming, you should choose your stream. But it is entirely up to you. But, make sure you take care of business.
I want to step in here for a second, and I want to move forward because I think we're kind of we're killing the horse here a little bit on this one. Unless somebody has any other last comment on it, I'd like to move on. We are running out of time. I have to go very soon, and there's a couple other topics that is important. There's a couple other topics that I want to cover. Two more, maybe three, and then we need to go. So the next thing that I want to bring up too is, and it's happened recently, and I hate having to do it, but it is really, again, it's Twitch terms of service aspect. But don't ask how old somebody is in chat.
Really?
Because well, it's not because of like asking somebody's age. It's more or less if you get somebody that's younger than 13 in chat and they're like, "Oh, I'm 12." You have to ban them because it's against terms of service. They have to be 13. So just don't ask, unless we've had to ban a couple people because of that.
The only time you ask if they're acting really immature.
Right, and then that's okay.
Like,
but
okay, I'm ready to ban this person. Let's see what that age pops up. There is no way that they're a mature adult.
I don't.
It's just
You're talking, but nobody's hearing you.
Sorry, I forgot to put push stock on.
You're like super distracted when you do that because I'm like, who are you talking to?
You.
Yeah. Then the next aspect I want to cover too is negativity. So this is kind of another hard one, right? So like it's hard for me to say this in I don't know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because we all have negativity in our lives, right? We all have ups and downs, and I try not to bring the negativity to light. I try not to bring it into the stream. I want my stream to be a positive place that everybody can come into when they're having a hard time, to just sit back and relax. I don't like having people come in and posting super negative stuff. Like, if, it's hard for me just to say it, but basically, if you're having a really terrible day or week or whatever the case is, don't bring the stream down during the stream. Like, if you need to talk to somebody, I am always here for somebody to talk to. I'm not saying to not talk to me, but bring it to me in Discord. That's a Discord conversation. During the stream, I want to remain positive. Sit back, relax, enjoy the stream, have a good time. If you're having a really rough time, and you need to talk to somebody, Discord. That way we can keep everybody positive, everybody on that aspect. And I try not to let any of my negativity happen within the stream aspect. It does happen. I try not to. I try to keep it positive. Um, you know, I was going to go off with something on that aspect too. Um, the let's see here. Okay, I'll hop into the second part, and maybe it'll come back to me. With the negativity aspect, right? And this hasn't happened. Oh no, what I was talking about. Okay, here's an example, right? You have a piece of fruit that is moldy, and you put that piece of fruit with all of the other good fruit, and it spreads like wildfire, right? That's what happens with the negativity, right? You put negativity inside of the chat, and then it spreads, and then everybody becomes negative and toxic, and it's bad. So I don't like the negativity in the chat. I try to keep everything positive. If you're having a bad day, I'm sorry. Talk to me in Discord about it, and I'd be happy to relate. That's my aspect on it. Can anybody else touch in on their thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I don't know. It's a tricky thing because I like having, for Twitch, for a lot of people, at least what I've found, is that it is an escape where they want to go and be somewhere where they're entertained and they can forget about that stuff. But also at the same time, I know and I do agree with you, Hex, where it's like, if it's something personal, mention it in a private setting, either in Discord or in chat or some, like, in a private chat. But I do feel like there is a place, and I guess it's all based on what you prefer to have as your chat as a streamer. But I do welcome, like, if someone has a problem, they're having a bad day, and they just want to not vent it, but say it out loud and have that support by the people that they're commonly there with in a chat. Some people may come have a stream that they see daily or, every other day, and they talk to the same people in that chat or then outside of that chat on Discord, and they see this as their friends who they can say, I had a bad day. This is what happened. And then those people go, oh, don't sweat it, or lift them up, or do things like that. So I think it's something that you have to kind of monitor yourself because then, that goes back to what we were talking about before, where you have to monitor everything about your channel, everything about your stream, including your own chat. So, make the boundaries of what you want in your chat to be about, negativity, certain topics. Everybody, kind of has a hard stance on talking about, politics and religion and things like that. But, I think it is definitely a thing of, like, you gotta have some boundaries of what you think is acceptable in your chat. And if someone does come in and they have negativity or something, if they're having a bad day, or maybe something's bugging them, or they're annoyed, offer the, like Hex said, the hand of, tell me about it, just not here. We can talk about it privately, something like that. And, I also want to ask the question of, like, I think there's, maybe this is off topic a little bit, but there's the negativity of a person in chat coming in and then bringing in negativity or something, and maybe, having it bring down the stream. What about as a streamer, if you're having an off day or something happens and it bugs you? And I've been there, and I think we've all been there, of, like, something clicks with you and you have it puts you off a little bit. I don't want to end the stream right there. Maybe I should walk away. Maybe that's a better option, but I don't want to end the stream. I want to continue forward. What are some things that you've done or anyone here has done to, like, bounce back or pick yourself back up so that you can keep up that positivity and whatnot?
Fireball has something to say, and then I'll respond to that last part here in a second.
For me, I welcome you to bring in your life challenges, but I think there's a certain level of how much of it you bring in. Like, if you're having a bad day, say, man, I just had a really bad day, so it's okay. I don't know. Hey, hit by man, I hope they're okay. Who was it? And maybe just touch on it briefly and then try to pull them away from that, because what you want to do as a streamer is entertain them and take them away from their bad day, but you still want to acknowledge their life, because they want to have that connectional bond, and that's why we do Twitch and not just watch videos, So I think there's a certain level of it, because I want to hear about your day. I care about my viewers. I want to know how you're doing, but I also don't want you to be too, I guess, depressed and bring everyone down. You cap on it and then you try to make them laugh and then you move on. But on the other side, I'm not going to lie, I have some crazy ass mood swings. And if someone does something in chat, or if I have to ban a person that I enjoy playing with for saying a wrong word, you will see it on my face. You will know that I did not want to have to do that. And it is a struggle. It is truly a struggle when something hits you right in the middle of stream and it just drops you down, to get over that. And then it's just like, okay, you gotta find something, maybe change up the way you're playing really quick, or maybe just, I don't know. For me, when I get frustrated, if I have audio issues, I try to laugh about my audio issues. If someone brings me down in a game, I show it. There's no hiding that, but I try to redirect it. And it might take a few minutes to redirect it, but I try to get maybe some emotes going, or like hype up my chat somehow and be like, oh, what is the craziest emote you guys got? Show it to me, or show me those bootylicious emotes, who's got the best booty emote, or whatever the case is. I try to redirect it and change the topic and maybe take it away from the game and then try to get back in it.
Okay. To bring it back to what you're saying, Unknown, about how do you as a streamer handle when you have a bad day and so you don't become toxic. I think it boils down to a couple of different things. One, if you're just that, if you feel you're being toxic or you're being super negative or any of those ways, it's probably going to hurt you to continue streaming more than it's going to be to just walk away. I think most people will respect it that, hey, I'm having a terrible day. I don't feel good. I'm going to end here. And we'll try to make up the stream next time, or we'll try to get some more hours in next time, or whatever the case is, or we'll just see you next scheduled stream, and hopefully everything's better. I think that'll be a better choice than to continue to be negative, because when you start becoming negative, then you start becoming, it starts becoming like it can become super toxic in the stream, where it shows on your face, it shows in your present and how you present yourself and how you read chat or how you talk to people. And if let's say I'm brand new into your channel, right? I just clicked on your name. Let's say Fireball was hosting your channel and I clicked on it through her channel, and it's like, well, it's like, basically, if you're negative and toxic, then that also reflects on anybody else that's hosting you. Because if I came from Fireball's channel, like, why is Fireball hosting this person who's being super toxic, super raging, whatever the case is, right? So you have to remember, as a broadcaster, it's not just your audience per se that you're worried about. It's everybody within the community that's around you. Whether it's your stream team that you're part of, whether it's people that are hosting your channel. You got to look at your analytics. I would say that my biggest growth has been from my joint communities, from people hosting my channel. When I see a new person, that's a new name that's in my channel that I haven't seen for ever, I ask them, hey, how did you come across here? How did you find my channel? Did you hit the browse page? Did somebody host? Did you see Twitter? Whatever the case is. I ask those questions so I know where they came from. I'm surprised how many people have come over from hosts. A host of zero is not nothing, because somebody else goes to check on their favorite streamer and they happen to say, oh, they're hosting Hex. Let's go check them out. And then I'm super toxic, like, who that? What? So yeah, I think if it's so bad that you're having such a bad night and it's super negative, you just need to step away. Um, and I mean that's kind of the best. I think it's better than not. Um, Otherwise, you could rub things the wrong way. I don't know. That's kind of my take on it.
Well, I paint my face for one, and then can you hear me? Okay. There's days where it's like I don't really know if I can face the camera, and I have to hype myself up. Like, I mean, I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but like, so when I do paint my face with neon, that's one of my ways that I hype myself up. Now I'm a little self-conscious about my art, but I listen to some music, I watch some streamers that I love to watch, and I try to relax or get hyped or whatever I need to get me in that mood to bring my best entertainment to my, viewers. So, I definitely go through a process when I get ready to stream on a bad day to hype myself, or if I can't get myself hyped, sometimes I'll come back in and Hex is like, "What's up?" And it's like, I just don't know if I can bring my best to my viewers right now, so I'm gonna take the night off. But and it sucks doing that, but I don't want to bring my viewers down because I definitely want to make people laugh, and that is my goal of my stream, is to make people laugh and make their day better. So.
We're running out of time here, so we're gonna have to end very shortly. But did that answer your question, Unknown?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's not like that I have, well, I think we all have those types of days, but I think it's like just trying to figure out, because I think we all, I think it's more common than not that a lot of people who stream might be a bit more introverted than most. I mean, we're sitting in a room alone playing video games to the internet. But it's just a thing of like trying to force yourself to continue to entertain, because again, like I said earlier, I think a lot of people try to do that, put others before themselves. But I think it's good to talk about, one, mental health is becoming more open and talking about it. And I think a lot of people in a lot of communities understand that. And there's a few communities that I'm a part of that are open about talking about it, understand if a streamer or a person can't do something that night, and it's totally fine because we all want to be at our best. But it's also that, we need to take, as streamers, we need to take care of ourselves, because ultimately we are our hobby, our job, or whatever it is, and we need to make sure that we are healthy, because if we're not, then what you're trying to do in the first place of entertaining people is non-existent.
Right.
Understand. People take sick days off work. You could take a sick day off stream if you need to.
And I am the prime example of not what to follow, because I have that military mentality of like, I don't ever get a sick day. I don't ever get that time off. It's very rare that you see me take a time off because of that military mindset. But like, it more recently, I think I've gotten better on it. But I mean, I guess Fireball's bringing up a good point. Like the other day, well, even at this moment right now, since Thursday, I've had like this terrible like migraine that's been on and off like consistently, and it's very hard for me to concentrate on multiple things, let alone do the whole streaming aspect. But like I continue to push forward because I know that like regardless of me stopping the stream or just laying down in bed or just whatever the case is, it's not going to change anything. I'm going to be the same way. So I'd rather just continue moving forward and not let it affect my daily life. That's my attitude on it. But it got so bad. Like if I look back on my VOD on Thursday when it was like the worst day, like you can see, like I looked at how pale I was and I was just like, oh my gosh, I probably should have ended way earlier.
But I got it. Deal with flies.
Firewall's over there. Anyway, I have to end here, so we're going to end the discussion part. We're going to come into our closing remarks here. I do want to thank everybody that has been part of the discussion. So we're going to do a couple shout outs here to people who participated. Phoenix is part of the SOBA members out here. She is, and you'll have to let me know. I don't know when your first stream is or was, or I think it's still in the works because you just got all your streaming equipment in. So soon. So everybody go over there, show Phoenix some love, give her a follow. And she's actually been playing a little bit of Apex Legends with Fireball, and very nice person. So we also have a newer streamer in here, Salty Caitlin, who's been around here for over a year in our community. She was playing The Witcher earlier today, and she's amazing. So, and then we also have Unknown Error Films, another good streamer. Oh yeah, let me shout out my wife too, because I have to shout her out too. Anyway, yeah, Unknown Error Films is another good guy. He's usually playing a lot of Nintendo Switch games, Smash Brothers, I think, recently. And then we have the mighty Fireball Ginger, who's always playing like World of Tanks or PS4 games and stuff like that. So those are the people who partook in our discussions. And then the last one, but not least, is Yukon. He already left, and we have already given a couple shout outs, but here's the last one. There's all the shout outs there. We are going to raid another SOBA member here, and go from there. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks for the amazing roundtable discussion this time, and I hope to continue to improve these discussions. I hope I've helped everybody out, or I've helped a little bit of you out with these discussions. I know they've helped me a little bit here and there too, and it's all about learning and improving. So hopefully, as we move on, we'll be able to improve our visuals here on the roundtable, and we'll actually get more faces showing up here as well.
Mine will get smaller. It'll be nice. Good
And I appreciate seeing everybody here. Rumpled Tilskin, hey, thank you so much for being here. Mango Bear, I really like the fact that you changed your name. I like that.
Mango?
Yeah, it used to be Ghostly Mango, and now it's Mango Bear.
Like, I feel like I know this person, but I don't recognize
Yeah.
it. I know a Mango, but that's not the one.
I liked it. I like the name change. Everybody have a fantastic night. We're gonna go raid Camille K. She is a fellow SOBA member. She's playing 7 Days to Die. I haven't raided her in a long time because she's usually a late night streamer. So I think this is going to be a fantastic person to stream. I hope you like her show, and I will see everybody tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. my time, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be playing Apex Legends.
Make sure he gets good rest.
Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for putting this together, Hex.